Tires of Evanston presents Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 with video online at kadqradio.com. Today's match is brought to you by these Rebel supporting businesses and individuals. Cowboy Motor Company, save a horse, buy from Cowboy. Big O Tires, the team you trust. Castle Rock Chevrolet, we are Chevrolet. Wyoming Dental Specialists and Rocky Mountain Care, simply the best care. Today's starting lineups are brought to you by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff. The beginning serve of each set is brought to you by The Station in Randolph, and your scoreboard sponsor for today's broadcast is You Win a Title. And now it's time for a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Sports on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at kadqradio.com.
Good evening and welcome to Duchesne High School, the home of the Eagles, where the Rich Lady Rebel volleyball team tonight is taking on the Eagles here in Duchesne. And first serve is scheduled for about 20 minutes from now. And in the meantime, we have our pregame show. If you're watching online at kadqradio.com, you see the JV team out there for the Rich Rebels. JV team just wrapped up a 3-1 win over the Duchesne Lady Eagles, and it was 25-12, 25-23. 15-9, they lost the third set, but then they came back and won the fourth set 15-6 to win the match. Rebels come into this one at 12-8 overall and undefeated in region play after this afternoon's win at Tabiona. The Rebels won 3-0 earlier this afternoon at Tabiona, a match we had right here on KADQ, and Rebels took care of business in that match, winning 25-14, 25-10, and 25-17. On the You Win a Title scoreboard, and it was really no contest. Each of those sets, Tabiona kept it close early, but the Rebels pulled away late. In the first set, it was 9-8. Rebels went on a 16-6 run to win the match, to win the set. In the second set, it was 13-10 when the Rebels went on a 12-0 run to win 25-10. And in the third set, it was close. Actually, the Rebels were down, trailed for much of the match. Then they tied it at 17 and went on a 8-0 run from that point on to win it 25-17 and get the win 3-0 over Tabiona earlier today. So that put the Rebels record at 12-8 overall this season. A season they've struggled just a little bit. It's the youngest team. Coach Stewart says the youngest team that she has coached in her career at Rich High School. So definitely some youth on the court, but they're coming around. They're playing well. They're learning to play with each other and doing a real nice job and improving as the season goes on. She said, Coach Stewart says that she loves the improvement she saw last weekend at that Richfield tournament. It feels like they're really coming into kind of a climax as the season is coming to a close pretty quick here. Now the Rebels have tonight against Duchesne here at Duchesne High School. Then they'll play against Union right here at Duchesne before traveling to Manila tomorrow. And then a couple of matches next week will wrap up the regular season for the Rebels. As for Duchesne, the Duchesne Lady Eagles come into this one at 2-4 overall. They're 1-3 in the region, but they're coming off a couple of victories. They won at Manila back on the 4th of October, and they most recently won last week in a match against Green River that was right here at Duchesne High School. So Duchesne is coming around, and Coach Jillian Duncan, who we'll talk to in a little bit later on here on our pregame, she feels like the team is really peaking at the right time as well. So this ought to be a pretty good match. Now, Duchesne traveled to Rich about a month ago on the 13th of September, and the Rebels took care of business 25-13, 25-14, and 25-18 in that match. So we'll see how things go here today, here this evening at Rich High School. Rebels and the Duchesne Lady Eagles coming up in just a few minutes. We've got more of our pregame show coming up with Coach Jolynn Duncan of the Duchesne Lady Eagles. We'll also hear from Lady Rebel head coach Cindy Stewart here on our pregame show. So stay tuned to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ 98.3 FM. And you can watch the game, watch the match online at kadqradio.com.
Long lines and slow traffic. Gas prices on the rise? Save yourself a trip to the big city by stopping first at Cowboy Motor Company. You no longer have to get out of Dodge to find the best deals on vehicles. Cowboy Motor Company has them in stock. Expanding inventory and plenty of money available for lending, you can now get into Dodge at Cowboy Motor Company. Strength, honesty, and integrity. The Cowboy way. Cowboy Motor Company, 100 Wasatch Road in Evanston.
It's time for the pre-winter checkup special.
Big O Tires, we go the extra mile.
Receive an oil change, 22-point inspection, brake check, and tire rotation for just $59.99. Big O Tires in Evanston, 607 Cheyenne Drive.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ-FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com. Time now for the Cindy Stewart pregame coaches show, brought to you by Gary McKee and Bear Lake Realty in Garden City. Stay tuned. We'll be right back, and we'll talk with Duchesne Volleyball head coach Jolynn Duncan. You're listening to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ-FM 98.3 and watch online at KADQRadio.com.
Come see why the Bear Lake Valley has become one of the hottest real estate markets in Utah. The Reserve, Bear Lake's finest resort, is a masterfully planned recreation community nestled in the beautiful Bear Lake Valley. Luxurious mountain getaways overlooking the turquoise waters of Bear Lake. With lowering interest rates, it's a great time to buy. To find out how to make the Bear Lake Valley your next home or vacation getaway, contact BearLakeRealty.com. That's BearLakeRealty.com.
I'm with the Duchesne Eagles head volleyball coach, Jolynn Duncan. And, Coach, thank you for joining me this afternoon.
Thank you.
So this match here tonight at Duchesne, is it good to be at home and hosting the Rich Rebels tonight?
Yep.
Last time you guys played at Rich, can you remember well enough to tell me your feelings about that match?
Well, our girls, they fought pretty hard, but Rich just outfought us better and come out ahead of us.
The first couple of sets were not real close, but the third set, you guys made much closer, it seemed like.
Yeah, I thought we were going to come back and get them, but we just didn't fight hard enough.
Since then, you've had a few matches at Tabiona, at Manila. How have you felt about how the girls have played? I know you beat Manila and Green River since you played Rich. How are the girls playing?
They've actually, since our Manila game, we've turned it around and are fighting a lot harder. Playing way better.
Is there something you can look at to see the turning point or what's made the difference?
Well, I felt like when we lost to Tabby, we kind of fell apart as a team, and since then we've just came together as a team a lot better.
Okay. Are there things that the team is doing on the floor that are? I mean, are you passing better? Are you getting better attacks, or is it just kind of coming together and playing better overall?
Well, and before, our passing and our serving was killing us, but our passing and serving has improved way better.
And I imagine that's something you will work on a lot in practice.
Yes. Nothing but passing and serving.
Well, it sounds like it's paying off a little bit.
Yes.
Based on where you are in the season, just, we're coming up on state tournament time, do you feel like the team is peaking then? I mean, it sounds like things are going pretty well the last few matches.
Yeah, I think our team is realizing how good our region will be put into the tournament, and we all have a pretty good chance for our region to go pretty far at state. So
you feel like your team is coming on at the right time?
Yes. Perfect timing.
Yeah, that's right. Right here at the end of the season. What after this match here today against Rich, what do you have coming up in the next week and a half?
Well, we got Rich, and then we will have we got Tabby on Tuesday and Altamont on Thursday for our last home game. And
you wrap up the regular season at home.
Yep.
Good. So with Rich coming in for Friday's match, today's match, how do you feel about, or what do you expect in the match this evening?
Our girls, they are coming out, they're coming together as a team, so they're kind of coming out with a little bit of revenge. So I'm hoping, they come out on fire.
Is there, Rich played there at Duchesne in football last Friday, and it was a great game. Duchesne extended their winning streak on the football field. Does that kind of winning mentality, having that from the football team, does that help or carry over to the volleyball team at all for you guys?
It does. Our girls, they want to do the same thing, and they know they got to start somewhere, and they want to start now. So, it puts a fire under the girls for sure.
Well, what are your keys for the match against Rich?
Oh, of course, our passing and our serving. I want to for surely be in a high percentage with that.
Just the simple fundamentals, passing and serving.
Yep, going back to the simple serving and passing.
All right. Well, good luck today, Coach, and thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Ryan.
That was head coach of the Duchesne Lady Eagles, Jolynn Duncan, here on the pregame coaches show, Cindy Stewart pregame coaches show, brought to you by Gary McKee and Bear Lake Realty in Garden City. And we're about 10 minutes away from the start of tonight's matchup, and when we come back, we'll talk to Coach Cindy Stewart of the Lady Rebels. You're listening to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3, and watch the game online at KADQRadio.com.
Find out how Chevy trucks stack up against all of the other major brand name trucks in their class. Confirm what you know or surprise yourself. Just log on to CastleRockChevy.com. Right now you can drive any new Chevy truck off the lot for just 1% over factory invoice OAC, and ask about other rebates and offers that apply.
We're Castle Rock.
Like us on Facebook, Castle Rock Chevy in Evanston, CastleRockChevy.com.
Precious time cannot be recovered once lost, said the famous Jack Sparrow. Don't lose time driving extra miles when the dental services you need are available right here in Evanston. Do you need a root canal? Do you need your wisdom teeth pulled? Are you missing teeth and want a full and perfect smile? Do you need braces? All of these services are available from our specialists right here in Evanston. This is oral surgeon A.J. Stosich inviting you to join me and my associates. Call today to schedule an appointment at 307-789-5608. That's 307-789-5608. Save your precious time.
Coach, thanks for coming up to chat with us. Congratulations on the win in that match.
It was good because they played with us, you know. So it was really good, a fun little match, and I thought they did well.
They were in there in the first and second sets. They were real close until you guys really pulled away about midway through each of those first two sets.
Yeah, they played hard really in the beginning. They played really hard, and then I think when we come at them, they maybe that's inexperience or what, but we didn't pass well. We served really well, and their number 20 could serve. We couldn't pass her ball. She's a good little server, and then their little Lazenby girl, she passes really well. So they got a lot of opportunities to come back at us.
How about that third set? You guys were down for most of that third set and kind of fought back into it and got the win. Again, it was a similar story where they played well early and you guys fought back later on.
And we missed three serves in a row, and that always gets you right down, and does the girls too. And we didn't pass very well. We were trying to let our goal be 60% this weekend, and so we got to do really well the next three games if that's going to happen.
To get up to 60%.
Yeah.
So next up, this evening, you're going to be at Duchesne.
It'll be good. It's always good when they're on your home court, so everybody will be up for it. They don't have as many fans. This is a good little town to have a good fan base, so they make a lot of noise.
Now, you guys beat Duchesne a couple of weeks ago there at Rich, and it was...
They're much improved. They're all much improved, so it's just so much fun to have some rallies and get to run something. We ran a different offense today, so that...
Did you go back to the 6-2?
The 5-1. We ran the 6-2. Okay. We ran it, and we haven't ran 5-1 all year, so that was fun to do it again. So.
Okay. Well, is there anything in particular that sticks out you think that the girls or individuals did well this afternoon?
Well, I thought Ellen Peart was amazing on her serve. She had like 6 or 7 aces, and Reagan Lord in the end, she had 3 or 4 aces. Our serving was better. However, we did miss the 3 serves, which gives them the momentum.
Right. And
we're just going to have to really focus on our passing. If we pass, we can attack. Kemi can kill that ball. She can put her and Ellen both swing so hard.
I see that, and it was such a contrast. You see the JV playing, and that was a great match for the JV, but then you see the varsity come out and start to warm up, and it's just such a difference.
It is. It's amazing, too, because all these kids except Kemi and Ellen a little bit were playing that JV game last year. So they improved so much. They're just fun bunch of girls.
Now, is it going to be a challenge for you to face Duchesne and then really just warm up again, or maybe not even warm up, try not to cool down and take on Union tonight?
No, I think Union will give us a good match, but we're used to that's what pool play is, and volleyball generally plays that way. You play 3 or 4 matches a day.
Okay.
So that wouldn't be. We'll be excited about that one. So.
Well, good. All right. Well, good luck this afternoon, and congratulations on the win against Taviona.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thanks for coming to talk with us.
Thanks for coming up here. Following us.
It's a fun time. It's a pleasure. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks again to Lady Rebel head volleyball coach Cindy Stewart for that interview. This is the pregame coaches show brought to you by Bear Lake Realty in Garden City and Gary McKee. We're about 5 minutes away from today's opening serve, and we'll be back with the starting lineups and the beginning of today's match. This is the pregame show. You're listening to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ 98.3 FM, and watch the game online at KADQRadio.com. Throughout our lives, there are times we may need skilled rehabilitation and nursing care or home health and hospice care. Rocky Mountain Care has been providing these services since 1990. Our skilled staff and specialized programs will meet your loved one's needs. Our staff is dedicated to a high-quality outcome for each of our patients and residents. When you or someone you love needs these professional services, think of Rocky Mountain Care. Simply the best care. www.rmcare.com.
For over 100 years, Union Telephone has been providing phone service to small communities, places the big guys simply ignored. We were helping our neighbors stay connected to the rest of the country. Times have changed and technology has evolved. Union has been there the entire way. Today, we still keep people connected in more ways and places than ever before. Union Wireless, treating you like a neighbor, not a number.
Welcome back to the pregame show. This is Ryan Steinekert here at Duchesne High School, the home of the Lady Eagles, home of the Eagles, where the Duchesne football team won their 43rd straight football game, win over Monticello Wednesday night. Of course, last week the Rich Rebels came down here to take on Monticello, and Rich led through most of the first half, led 19-6 at the half, but the Duchesne Eagles came back, found a way to win and extend their winning streak at that time. Rich Rebels bounced back, though, last night with a win over Altamont 41-14 there at Rich High School yesterday afternoon, a game we had right here on KADQ-FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com. And all these matches that we broadcast, that we put on to KADQRadio.com, if they get on there, they can be archived. So you can tune in, or you can go to the website, KADQRadio.com, later, and you can watch the games and matches after those games and matches have taken place. So yesterday's football game, the Rebels beating Altamont 41-14. You can go to the website today and view that game, and just watch it if you're into watching that and seeing how the Rebels did, if you didn't get a chance to catch it yesterday. Tonight, though, the Lady Rebels taking on the Duchesne Lady Eagles, and this is another big region match for the Rebels. In the games, the matches earlier tonight, freshman-sophomore team, the Rebels won in 3 straight, 25-10, 25-19, 15-11. In the JV match, the Rebels won 3-1, 25-12, 25-23. Duchesne took the third set 15-9, and then the Rebels bounced back and won the fourth set 15-6. And if you're watching online at KADQRadio.com, you see the teams practicing their serving back and forth. We'll have our starting lineups brought to you by Stacey's Repair in Woodruff coming up here in just a bit, and we're probably about 5 minutes away from the beginning serve, brought to you by the station in Randolph. Rebels and Duchesne met earlier this year, and the Rebels took care of business in 3 straight. Rebels really dominated in the first 2 sets. The third was a 25-18 win, which Duchesne made a bit closer, but the Rebels still got the victory in that one. And here at Duchesne High School, we're sitting on, let me orientate myself, the east side of the gym looking west. If you're looking at online at KADQRadio.com, you see the Rebels out there on the floor. That's the south end of the gym as we're looking east to west. So the Rebels here on the south, the Duchesne Lady Eagles will start this evening's match on the right or on the north end of the gym. Good crowd here tonight at Duchesne High School. It's a Friday night. There's no football here in Duchesne since the team played on Wednesday. So a lot of fans out here on the stands, and they're sitting just on our sides. If you see the stands online at KADQRadio.com across the way, it's just the DHS as those stands are pushed in and closed off to allow the volleyball teams to take up that side of the court. But the pretty good group of fans here to my right and to my left as we're sitting here on the east side of the gym. Rebels tonight, it's going to be they're going to complete a busy day after this match. They'll take on the Union Cougars, a 3A team. who's coming to play the Rebels, and that'll take place here at Duchesne High School and right here on KADQ 98.3 FM and online at kadqradio.com. So the Rebels warming up. We're just a few moments away from your starting lineups, brought to you by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff. And I think we're going to have that now as the buzzer sounds to end the pregame warm-up session. Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ is brought to you in part by the station in Randolph and by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff as teams line up now. And I imagine we'll have either the Pledge of Allegiance or the National Anthem. You hear that crowd cheering for their Eagles. And it sounds like we're going to go with the starting lineups first, so we'll do that as well. If you're watching online at kadqradio.com, you see the senior Cammie Lamborn head out onto the floor. Junior Reagan Lloyd, number 4. Number 10, and a senior Ellen Peart. Also starting tonight, number 11, Andy Cornea, a freshman. Number 20, Lilia Brown, is a sophomore. And number 25, Danielle Huffner, a senior for the Rebels. And those are the Rebel starters for tonight. Starters brought to you by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff. Starting lineup for the Duchesne Eagles. As we pan across the way at kadqradio.com. Number 3, Mackenzie Skews, a senior. Number 4, Alyssa Nielsen is a sophomore. She plays some in the JV match. Amara Hudson, number 5, is a senior. As Hudson comes across. Number 7 is Melissa Robinson, a sophomore. This is a young Duchesne team, just 2 seniors starting on the team. Number 10 is Michelle Giles, and Giles is a sophomore. And number 11 rather, Kaylee Grant is a freshman. When you look at the who's starting and what class they're in, these teams start almost the same. A couple of seniors, a sophomore or 2, and a freshman in the starting lineups for both teams. And we're going to have the national anthem now. And one of the players for the Duchesne Lady Eagles is going to sing, Amara Hudson. That was Duchesne Lady Eagles senior Amara Hudson with the national anthem there. And the Rebels and the Eagles getting set to face off here at Duchesne High School. Of course, the Rebels will continue tonight and play again against the Union Cougars right after this match. We'll just keep it right here on KADQ at 98.3 FM and online at kadqradio.com. So don't go anywhere after this match with the Rebels against Duchesne, as we'll have the Rebels taking on the Union Cougars right after this. So our starting lineups this evening were brought to you by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff, and the beginning serve brought to you by the station in Randolph, just moments away. Rebels a solid win earlier this afternoon at Tabiona, a win that assured the Rebels a first-place finish in the region. That win over Tabiona puts Tabiona's the only team that could match records with the Rebels, even if the Rebels were to lose here tonight and then tomorrow at Manila. which we don't expect to happen. But even if that were to occur, the Rebels would hold that tiebreaker over Taviona. So the Rebels, the region champions for this season. As we get the whistle, and Ellen Peart will serve. Opening serve brought to you by the station in Randolph. Rebels going left to right, that's south to north. The Eagles able to get it back over the net. Now the Rebels will set it up for Lamborn. They push across the net on the angle. She finds the hole. There's that court vision that we talk about so often with Cammie Lamborn, and the Rebels lead 1-0 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Peart, a good strong serve. Not a great pass, but Duchesne keeps it in the air, and they'll get it over the top with Nilsson. Now Cornea will set up for Lamborn again. Big hit. It's tipped at the net, and the Eagles keep it in the air. Now they'll hit it over, and on the line, yes. Nice placement there by Alyssa Nilsson, I believe it was, with the hit, and we're tied at 1 on the Uinta scoreboard. As the Eagles will bring in Brooklyn Johnson, the junior, to serve. She'll serve from straight away, serving right to left. That's north to south. And to the back row, Peart passes up front. Cornea will set for Huffner. Huffner's hit is blocked at the net and rolls across the top of the net to the floor on the Rebel side. And Duchesne leads 2-1 on the Uinta scoreboard. Back to serve again is Johnson. Johnson served long, and barely long. Just barely. The Rebels let it go, and it's just out. So we're tied at 2 on the Uinta scoreboard. Danielle Huffner back to serve for the Rebels from this near side, going left to right, and across the net, pass up high. Not a great pass, and the Eagles have a hard time. Actually, a fourth hit is what gets it over the net, so that'll be a point to the Rebels, who now lead 3-2 on the Uinta scoreboard. Huffner back again to serve, just on the left side of the screen if you're watching online at kadqradio.com. And they'll set it up. Here's the hit. Nice placement by Nilsson once again. Not much power on it, but she just sees the hole in the Rebel defense and finds it. We're tied at 3 on the Uinta scoreboard. Nilsson was on the far side, hit it to this near side. And now she'll go back to serve. Good strong serve, but it's long. And the Rebels back on top, 4-3 on the Uinta scoreboard. Back to serve goes Andy Cornea. Cornea, real great floater serve, and there's one of her good ones. The pass goes into the net. Pass by Amara Hudson, and it's into the net, so the Rebels take the lead to 5-3 now on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Cornea again, left to right, that's south to north. Pass goes up front. They'll set it up for Nilsson. Nilsson just mistimes it off the top of her fingertips on the hit, and it's 6-3 Rebels on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Cornea once again. It just clears the net, actually hit the top of the net and rolls over the top, so the Rebels lead 7-3 on the Uinta scoreboard. Cornea back to serve again. Serving from this near side, and again, if you're watching online at kadqradio.com, it's left to right. Good pass up front, and Skews will set it up. Hit by Nilsson. Rebels are there. Cornea will set it up for Lamborn. Right in the net. Big hit blocked. Actually, she may have even hit it into the net. Now Lamborn smiling as she hits it back over. Eagles keep it alive. Push toward the back, and Peart is out of bounds to keep that one alive, but the Rebels get it over the net as Lamborn pushes it into the blockers, who block it out of bounds on the Rebel side, but since it's out of bounds, Rebels get the point, leading 8-3 on the Uinta scoreboard. Cornea to serve once again. The serve down low. Nice dig by Amara Hudson to keep that alive and into the air, and then it's hit by Nilsson out of bounds. And the Rebel lead is now 9-3 on the Uinta scoreboard. We were tied at 3. Rebels on a 6-0 run, and Cornea back there serving. Here's the serve to the back row. Passed up front. They'll pass it up high and pushed over the top by Giles. Now the Rebels will set it up for Lamborn. A tip, just that dump into the hole, and Lamborn finds the hole in the defense, finds the floor, and it's 10-3. Rebels on a 7-0 run, and Coach Duncan needs to take a timeout and have a quick talk about this. We'll take a quick timeout as well. Rebels leading 10-3 on the Uinta scoreboard. You're listening to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Volleyball on KADQ-FM 98.3 and online at kadqradio.com.
Long lines and slow traffic. Gas prices on the rise? Save yourself a trip to the big city by stopping first at Cowboy Motor Company. You no longer have to get out of Dodge to find the best deals on vehicles. Cowboy Motor Company has them in stock. Expanding inventory and plenty of money available for lending, you can now get into Dodge at Cowboy Motor Company. Strength, honesty, and integrity. The Cowboy Way. Cowboy Motor Company, 100 Wasatch Road in Evanston.
Back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com. The Rebel 7-0 run comes to an end right there as Cornea serves it into the net. And now Giles will go back to serve for the Eagles. Peart, not a good pass. Shanked toward this near side. Cornea dives to try and get there, but not close. And it's 10-5 on the Uinta scoreboard. Peart, as soon as that hit her hands, she knew it was going the wrong direction. Here's Giles serving from straight away. Goes to Peart again. The pass not great. Huffner passes up front, and Lamborn pushes it over. The Eagles will set it up. Big hit. Nice hit by Amira Hudson, and the Rebels a trouble on the pass. And the Eagles will get the point again as the ball comes to this near side out of bounds. And it's 10-6 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Giles. Once again, high arching serve. Huffner passes up to Cornea. Cornea will set it up for Lamborn right there, and Lamborn just hammers Giles with it right in the chest. Giles smiling. I don't know if I'd be smiling if I just took that shot to the chest. But, boy, Lamborn just hammered that. And the Rebels lead 11-6, now have the serve. Lamborn splits the defense, finds the seam. Giles and Robinson communicating after the ball goes through. And it's 12-6, Rebels with the lead on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Lamborn once again to the back row. Giles' pass goes over the net. Cornea is there. Now Hopkin will set it up to Lloyd in the middle, blocked, but to the floor on the Eagles' side. And the Rebels' lead is 13-6 now on the Uinta scoreboard. Rebels building the lead. They were up. We were tied at 3. Rebels went on a 7-0 run. Now another little run here as Lamborn is serving. Giles' pass goes way up high. Now the Eagles have to just bump it over to get it to keep it in the air. Now Cornea will set up Peart. Peart the hit, cross court. Giles is there. Nice pass up front. The set, a back set, and the hit blocked by Peart. Eagles keep it alive. Nice job by the Eagles. Now Hopkin will pass it up high for Lloyd. Lloyd pushing to the corner. Giles is there. They'll set it up. Here's Hudson, and the hit is way long by Kaylee Grant. That went almost to the back wall before it bounced, and the Rebels now lead 14-6 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Lamborn, and this one just clears the net. Giles does the splits trying to get down there, and the Rebels lead 15-6 after that ace by Cammie Lamborn, who is just playing hard right now. And the Rebels with the lead. Timeout on the floor. Rebels up 15-6 on the Uinta scoreboard. We'll take a quick timeout and be right back on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com.
It's time for the pre-winter checkup special.
Big O Tires, we go the extra mile. Revving up the service to make you smile. We're in the business of customer pleasing. All the right service for all the right reasons.
Receive an oil change, 22-point inspection, brake check, and tire rotation for just $59.99.
Extra miles, the way we go. We got you covered at Big O.
Big O Tires in Evanston, 607 Cheyenne Drive.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com. Here's Cammie Lamborn serving, and Giles, the pass, the serve receive goes just about out the outside. Getting a little warm in the gym here, and the pass just about out into the cool night air, and the Rebels up 16-6 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Lamborn once again picking on Giles. This time Nielsen steps in and passes it way up high. And the Eagles will keep it in the air. Now the Rebels' Lamborn will pass it up toward the net. Cornea will just try to dump it over as that pass was up into the net. Skews sets up Nielsen, blocked by Hopkins. And Lloyd was right there as well. The Eagles will set it back up and get it over. Now Cornea will set up Peart on the far side. Hammered, blocked at the net by the Eagles. Cornea will set up Peart again, this time a little bit back behind the net. Nielsen's pass goes way back by the cheerleaders on that far north end of the gym. A dive by Hudson and Skews to try and get there, but neither of them can, and the Rebels lead 17-6 on the Uinta scoreboard, running away with this first set. Here's Lamborn. Giles will pass way up high. Skews comes over. The set for Giles on the back row, hit into the net, and it's 18-6 on the Uinta scoreboard. We were tied at 3. The Rebels went on a 7-0 run. Right now they're on an 8-0 run and have a big lead. Here's the serve. Eagles will get it set, and here's the hit over the net, just a push over. Cornea's there. Now Hopkins will set up for Peart on the far side. Hit. Giles is there. Nice pass up high, and Skews will push it over. Cornea passes up front. Hopkins set for Peart, who just pushes it over, almost finds the floor. But the Eagles are there. The hit into the Rebel side is just out of bounds on that far side, right in front of the Rebel bench. And Rich High leading 19-6 on the Uinta scoreboard. Cammie Lamborn serves. Giles goes to her knees, and the Eagles keep it in the air, bump it over the net. Huffner up front. The pass to Cornea set for Peart. Peart's tip is in the hole, just right over the blockers. Nobody could get up close enough to get to it, and the Rebels lead 20-6 on the Uinta scoreboard. Lamborn back to serve. It's a 10-0 run with Lamborn serving to Giles. The pass way up high. Skews sets it up front, and the push over the net by Grant. Now the Rebels, Cornea will set it up right in the net. Nice job by Peart to stay out of the net and on this side of the line. And now 2 hits by the Eagles as they try to get it set back up, and the Rebels lead 21-6 on the Uinta scoreboard. Lamborn, a strong jump serve. Giles pass goes the serve receive into the stands here on this near side bleachers, and the Rebels ahead 22-6 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Lamborn back to serve once again. If you're watching online at KADQradio.com, you see the ball just come in there from that left side of the screen. Eagles will set it up. They get a good pass this time, and a nice hit. Good attack. Now the Rebels will set up. Peart with the attack. Hit to the back row. Nielsen is there. Good pass up front. Skews sets it up. And the big hit by Hudson, and that one's going to score a point for the Eagles. Rebels tried to dig it, but it was hit into the corner, and Huffner couldn't quite get there on the dive. So the Eagles break that little streak there, a 12-0 run for the Rebels with Lamborn serving, and it's 22-7. Cornea will set it up for Peart after the serve, and Peart into the net goes the hit, and it's 22-8 on the Uinta scoreboard. Overall on that run, it was 19-3 Rebels on that run there. Here's Cornea setting it up for Peart once again. Peart the hit long and out of bounds. So Duchesne's starting to put together a little bit of a run of their own, 3 straight points. And they'll go back to serve once again with Melissa Robinson. Robinson, the sophomore, serves this one high and long. And the Rebels now lead 23-9, knocking on the door of a first set victory here with Reagan Lloyd going back to serve. We got Hopkins, Peart, and Huffner up front, and they are relaxed and having a good time. You can see Huffner really smiling up there. The pass goes into the net. Somehow the Eagles keep it alive. Lamborn dives to keep it off the floor, and that one's into the net. So the Eagles get a point as the Rebels kind of lackadaisical about that volley there. And it's 23-10, Rebels with the lead on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Hudson. Reagan Lloyd has it up high in her arms. The Rebels scramble, but they keep it up in the air and get it over the net. Now Skews will set up Nielsen. Nielsen's hit into the net. Mistimed it just a bit, and the Rebels lead 24-10 on the Uinta scoreboard. Set point here, set number 1. The Rebels with the lead, and Emily Hopkins back to serve for the Rich High Lady Rebels. Serve is deep, but the Eagles play it. They'll pass it up high, and now Skews and Skews and Grant fighting over it. Who's going to get it over the net? Neither of them do, and the Rebels win set 1, 25-10 on the Uinta scoreboard. Quick work for the Lady Rebels in the first set against Duchesne, and the Rebels with the win, 25-10 on the Uinta scoreboard. Stay tuned. Set number 2 is coming up, and also the Rebels will take on Union tonight. That'll be a tough match for the Rebels. Union 3A. They're in a real tough region there in 3A, and with perennial powerhouse Morgan and a few other teams. So that'll be a great match later on tonight as the Rebels take on Union here at Duchesne High School. In the meantime, Rebels take set 1, 25-10 over the Duchesne Lady Eagles on the Uinta scoreboard. Set 2 is coming up just in a bit here on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ Radio 98.3 FM and online at KADQradio.com.
Find out how Chevy trucks stack up against all of the other major brand name trucks in their class. Confirm what you know or surprise yourself. Just log on to CastleRockChevy.com. Right now you can drive any new Chevy truck off the lot for just 1% over factory invoice OAC, and ask about other rebates and offers that apply.
We're Castle Rock.
Like us on Facebook, Castle Rock Chevy in Evanston, CastleRockChevy.com.
Precious time cannot be recovered once lost, said the famous Jack Sparrow. Don't lose time driving extra miles when the dental services you need are available right here in Evanston. Do you need a root canal? Do you need your wisdom teeth pulled? Are you missing teeth or want a full and perfect smile? Do you need braces? All of these services are available from our specialists right here in Evanston. This is endodontist Les Walker inviting you to join me and my associates. Call today to schedule an appointment at 307-789-5608. That's 307-789-5608. Save your precious time.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ 98.3 FM and online at KADQradio.com. This is Ryan Steinekert here at Duchesne High School, where the Rebels win set 1 25-10 on the Uinta scoreboard. We were tied at 3. The Rebels went on a run of 7-0. The Eagles scored a couple of points. Then the Rebels went on an 8-0 run. Eagles scored a point, and then the Rebels went on a 12-0 run. Altogether, it was a 19-3 run, including the Eagle points in there, and the Rebels close out with a victory 25-10 on the Uinta scoreboard. And, boy, dominated that first set. Set 2 coming up here in just a bit. The Rebels with Hopkin, Peart, Huffner, Lloyd, Lamborn, and Brown on the floor. And back to serve goes Darian Moreland, a sophomore, libero for the Eagles. Rebels not a great pass. They'll scramble a little bit, and Lamborn coming to this near side, hits the antenna, trying to get it over the net, and the Eagles lead 1-0 on the Uinta scoreboard. Eagles starting this one off the way they want to, and Moreland will go back to serve again from straight away, left to right. That's south to north. Lloyd passes, not great. Huffner keeps it in the air, and now Peart will bump it over the net. Giles is there. Now Moreland will set it up, and here's the hit, and we had... What's that call there? It's an illegal attack, a serve from the back row against the Eagles. So the point will go to the Rebels, and we're tied at 1. And Moreland come in from that back row and hit the attack. Huffner will go back to serve now. Huffner to the back row, passed up front by Hudson, and it's passed out of bounds. Now Skews will just bump it over the net. Huffner passes up front. Peart will set it up for Lamborn on the near side. Hammers it down that far line, and it's in. Looks from here to be out, but that judge is right there. It's right there in front of her where Lamborn hit it, and the Rebels lead 2-1 on the Uinta scoreboard. Huffner back to serve again. You're watching online at KADQradio.com. It's north to south. That's right to left on your screen. As Skews will set it up for Giles. Giles the hit, tip. Now Peart dives to keep it in the air. Back to the Rebels, back to the Eagles. Now the Skews will set it up again to the far side. Here's the tip by Melissa Robinson. It's kept in the air, and now a carry, or it's on the floor on the Eagles' side. It is just going back and forth as both teams playing right in the net. And the Rebels lead 3-1 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Huffner. The serve is long and out of bounds. So it's 3-2. Rebels with the lead on the Uinta scoreboard. And back to serve goes Kaylee Grant, the freshman. Grant from just about straight away, left to right. Nice floater serve, but it's long. And the Rebels lead 4-2 on the Uinta scoreboard. For Rich High, Andy Cornea will check in to serve. See her check in, number 11. She goes, scoops up the volleyball, and she's back there ready to serve from the far side. Goes just about straight away. The pass back over the net. Christina Peterson goes up and trying to hammer it down. She hits it into the net, and it's 4-3. Rebel lead cut to 1 on the Uinta scoreboard as Michelle Giles goes back to serve. Giles serves way high. Lamborn passes up front. Cornea will set it up for Lamborn. Coming in strong. It's blocked back and hits the Rebel side of the floor. And we're tied at 4 on the Uinta scoreboard. Giles got up there to block, and Lamborn just tried to power it through. But the blockers were there. Hands pointed the right direction, and Giles back to serve once again. This time serves strong, and it's an ace. Lloyd decides to let that one go. She thought it was going to be long, and the Eagles take the lead 5-4 after that ace by Giles. Now on the Uinta scoreboard, here's Giles once again. This serve, just a high lofty serve. Peart's pass into the net. Rebels somehow keep it alive. Lamborn bumps it over. Now Skews will set it up for Nielsen. Nielsen trying to tip. Lamborn tips it into the air to keep it up, and then it falls to the floor, and the Eagles lead 6-4 on the Uinta scoreboard. Rebels looking pretty relaxed out there, maybe a little too relaxed at this point, but we'll see how if they turn things around. Here's Cornea, the set for Peart, and she hammers it right at Nielsen. Check that. That's Grant, and Grant can't dig that, and it's a 1-point game now. 6-5, Rebels down by 1 as Cammie Lamborn goes back to serve. And Lamborn goes to Giles. Giles a decent pass this time. Skews will set it up near side. The hit over the net by Robinson. Now the Rebels will pass it back to Lamborn, who pushes it over from the back row. Skews sets it up for Hudson this time, and Lamborn passes up front. Cornea, the set for Peart on this near side. Big hit. Giles goes down to it, but it bounces over to the Duchesne bench on the far side and out of bounds, and we're tied at 6 on the Uinta scoreboard as Lamborn will go back to serve once again. Rebels scored 12 straight points against the Eagles with Lamborn serving in the first set. Giles' pass goes into the net. Eagles keep it alive, and Lamborn goes over there, passes up front. Cornea sets it up, and the Rebels will just push it over to Lloyd. Now Skews will set it up, a back set for Nielsen, blocked by Peart. Peart will set it up high. Now Cornea sets it actually for Peart on that second hit. Blocked, but the Eagles can't keep it in the air right here on the net. Melissa Robinson would have had to hit it a second time to keep it alive. And the Rebels regain the lead 7-6 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Lamborn again to Giles. The pass up high on the back row. Skews will pass up, set it up, and Giles pushes it over. Now the Rebels will set it up. Cornea into the net for Peart. Peart, big hit. Nice dig by Grant, and the Eagles will keep it alive and get it over the net. Huffner passes up high. Now Cornea to Peart again on this near side. The push into the hole. A swing and a miss by Mackenzie Skews going down to her knees trying to get there. Misses. It hits the floor, and the Rebels are up by 2, 8-6 on the Uinta scoreboard. Lamborn again back to serve, and she serves it into the net. So the Rebel 4-0 run comes to an end with that one, and it's 8-7 on the Uinta scoreboard with Robinson going back to serve for the Lady Eagles. Serves from straight away, and this one just clears the net. Boy, that was a little lofter, and it just caught the Rebels by surprise. Oh, but it was out of bounds on that far side. So the Rebels will get the point and lead 9-7 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Peterson. Good, strong serve. Just clears the net. Skews will set it up for Giles on the back row. And Giles gets it over the blockers and to the floor. Nice placement by Giles there from that back row attack. And the Rebel lead is down to 1, 9-8 on the Uinta scoreboard. Back to serve goes Hudson, one of the two senior starters, one of the two seniors on the team. Rebels will set it up. Big hit. The dig is bounced back to the wall, and the Rebels back up by 2, 10-8 on the Uinta scoreboard. Back to serve goes Ellen Peart. The Rebels didn't even get this far in the serve rotation in set number 1, which they won 25-10. Now Hudson will hit it from the back row. A dive by Peart to keep it in the air. And now another dive as Hopkins got it barely up. Peart kept it alive, and now a back set by Skews to push it over the net. Rebels will set it up for Lamborn to the back row, and Hudson misplays it, shanks it to the back wall, and the Rebels get the point and now lead 11-8 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Peart once again, running jump serve from there on that key line for the basketball court. Eagles get it back over. Now the Rebels will set it up. Peart for Reagan Lloyd. Lloyd's hit is tipped into the air again, but the Eagles can't get to it, and Rich High leads 12-8 on the Uinta scoreboard as Peart goes back to serve one more time. Rebels on a 3-0 run here as Peart serves to the back row. Passed up high by Robinson, and they'll just bump it over. The Rebels are there. Lamborn to Peart. Peart will set it up for Lloyd. Lloyd, the big hit blocked at the net by Nielsen, but to the floor, and Rebels get the point, leading 13-8 on the Uinta scoreboard. Again, Rebels took the first set 25-10 and lead 13-8 here in set number 2. Robinson's serve receive into the stands right here in front of me, and it's 14-8 Rebels with the lead on the Uinta scoreboard. Timeout. Eagles will take a quick one as well as the Rebels with the big lead. 14-8 on the Uinta scoreboard. It's a 5-0 run, and they'll look to build on that when we come back from this quick break on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3, and watch the match online at KADQradio.com.
Throughout our lives, there are times we may need skilled rehabilitation and nursing care or home health and hospice care. Rocky Mountain Care has been providing these services since 1990. Our skilled staff and specialized programs will meet your loved one's needs. Our staff is dedicated to a high-quality outcome for each of our patients and residents. When you or someone you love needs these professional services, think of Rocky Mountain Care. Simply the best care. www.rmcare.com.
Quick return out of the timeout. The Eagles get it over the net after Peart's serve. Now the Rebels will set it up. Lloyd gets the hit. Eagles are there, and they'll set it up for Nielsen. Nielsen right at the net. The push. Rebels keep it in the air. Now Lloyd gets the hit again. Giles just tips it into the air. Rebels dive. Lamborn keeps it alive, and the Eagles trying to set it up the attack, and Nielsen hits it into the blockers to the floor, and the Eagles get the point there, making it 14-9 on the Uinta scoreboard, and the Eagles will get the serve here. That's what they wanted out of that timeout, was the side out and the serve. Alyssa Nilsson back to serve, goes to Lloyd on the back row. Lloyd Lamborn will set it up front to Huffner. Huffner pushes it toward the corner. Can't get there. Now Skews will set it up, and here's the hit long by Grant. Grant got a little bit underneath that one, and the Rebels lead 15-9 on the Uinta scoreboard. Watching online at KADQradio.com. Reagan Lloyd going back to serve on the far right side of the screen. Serves over to Hudson. Now to Skews. She'll set it up for Giles on the front row. Now nice hit by Giles into the corner. And nobody there for the Rebels. It's 15-10 on the Uinta scoreboard. Duchesne keeping themselves in this one. Rebels won the first set 25-10. And Rebels leading 15-10 here in set 2. Nice serve there by number 12. I don't have on my roster. The Rebels pass goes back over the net. Now the Eagles set it up, and Giles hit on the back row. From here it looked in, but the line judge back there says it's out, and the Rebels get the point at 16-10 on the Uinta scoreboard. And Danielle Huffner will go back to serve. Received up high by Nielsen. They'll keep it in the air, and Skews will just bump it over. Now Peart will set it up for Lamborn, and she just hammers it down. Nielsen got a fingertip on it, but there's no way she was going to play it. And it's 17-10, Rebels with the lead on the Uinta scoreboard, and Danielle Huffner back to serve. Huffner back to serve there, and to the front row, Hudson on the back row. Skews does a back set, and into the net under that line is number 11, Kaylee Grant, and Rebels lead now 18-10 on the Uinta scoreboard. A timeout on the floor. We'll take another quick one as well, as the Rebels have that 8-point lead in set number 2 on a Big O Tire of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online. Watch it at KADQradio.com.
For over 100 years, Union Telephone has been providing phone service to small communities, places the big guys simply ignored. We were helping our neighbors stay connected to the rest of the country. Times have changed and technology has evolved. Union has been there the entire way. Today, we still keep people connected in more ways and places than ever before. Union Wireless, treating you like a neighbor, not a number.
Rebels lead 18-10 on the Uinta scoreboard here on the Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball at KADQradio.com, and you can listen at 98.3 FM. And Danielle Huffner back to serve for the Rebels. Peterson, Hopkin, and Lamborn on the front row there at the net for the Rebels. Passed up high. Skews will set for Giles, and she'll just push it over. Peart now will set it up a back set for Hopkin. Hit across the angle and just out of bounds here on this near side. Good idea by Hopkins. Just missed a bit long on that, trying to find this. There was a hole there in the defense, but she just hit it out of bounds. Here's Grant back to serve. Rebels will pass it up front. Peart's set, goes back row, and Lamborn will just bump it over. Now Skews will set it up for Giles. Big hit into the net. Rebel blockers might have been there as well, and it's 19-11. Rebels with the lead on the Uinta scoreboard, and Cornea will check in for the Rich Lady Rebels and head back to serve. Peterson, Peart, and Lamborn on the front. Huffner and Lloyd on the back row along with Cornea. The serve is passed right back over the net. Now the Rebels will set it up for Peart. Blocked right back to the Rebels. They'll set it up again. Here's Peart trying to hammer it past the defense, and they'll keep it alive, but it'll be out of bounds off the Rebels, and the Eagles get the point. 19-12 on the Uinta scoreboard. The Rebels with that lead, and now Michelle Giles will go back to serve. Giles from straight away going left to right. If you're watching online at KADQradio.com, that's south to north. Rebels set it up for Lamborn, push toward that far corner, and Eagles are there. Now Lamborn passes Cornea will set it up for Lamborn. Big hit, but it's going to be long, and it was not tipped. Giles dove for it, but couldn't quite get there, and it's out of bounds, so the point will go to the Eagles. And it's 19-13. Rebels lead cut to 6 on the Uinta scoreboard, and now, boy, Lloyd, Lamborn, and Huffner, all three just caught looking as the serve comes across, and it's 19-14 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Giles once again. Peart will pass. Cornea sets it up for Peart on the near side. Big hit. Tipped at the line of the net by the blockers. It goes up high in the rafters, bounces off one of the I-beams and straight down to the floor, and the Rebels get the point, leading 20-14 on the Uinta scoreboard. Lamborn back to serve once again for the Rebels. Here comes the serve from right to left on KADQradio.com. Skews sets it up, and the hit by Robinson. Rebels are there. Cornea will set it up for Peart on this near side. The hit, nice placement. Giles dives. Great efforts. He did keep it in the air, but didn't play it to where a teammate could get to it, and it's 21-14. Rebels with the lead on the Uinta scoreboard. Lamborn again from right to left to Giles on the back row. Now Skews will set it up for Giles. Big push to the back. Huffner's there. Cornea will set it up for Peart. Peart, big hit, tipped at the net. And no, they're going to say it was not tipped. It's out of bounds. It looked to me like it was tipped, but point will go to the Eagles, and it's 21-15. Rebel lead cut to 6. Robinson back to serve. Peterson passes to Cornea. Cornea set for Lloyd and hit over the net. Now Hudson will just tap it right over. Rebels are there, and they'll set it up for Peart. Peart hit to the corner. She finds that seam between Giles and Grant, and the Rebels lead 22-15 on the Uinta scoreboard. And Christina Peterson will go back to serve for Rich High. Serving from there within the key on that right side if you're watching online at KADQradio.com. They'll set it up for Hudson. The hit across court just long, boy. She found that angle, and there was nobody there for the Rebels, but she hit it just a bit deep. And it's 23-15, Rebels knocking on the door here in set number 2. They took the first set 25-10. Peterson's serve just clears the net, and Grant will keep it in the air. Now Giles pushes it over. Cornea will set it up for Peart. Big hit, tipped at the net by the blockers, and the Eagles keep it alive. Will they be able to bump it over? No! The third hit just under the net by Hudson, and the Rebels now with a set point, 24-15 on the Uinta scoreboard. Peterson, again the serve. She goes to Grant. Skews into the net to keep it in the air. Now Giles bumps it over. Lamborn dives to keep it up. Now Cornea set for Reagan Lloyd. The hit goes way back, and again, Giles will just bump it over. They're scrambling to keep it alive. Now Cornea will set it up for Peart on this near side. Big hit, good dig by the Eagles, and they'll set it up. Here's Nilsson over the net, and Lamborn is there. Cornea will set it up for Lamborn on the back row. Big hit, it's shanked to the back wall, and the Rebels win set 2, 25-15 on the Uinta scoreboard. Rebels got the win in set number 1, 25-10, and win set 2, 25-15 on the Uinta scoreboard. Rebels lead 2-0 in this match. And again, here at Duchesne High School against the Lady Eagles, Rebels, right after this match, they'll give Union a few minutes to get warmed up. Rebels will try to stay warm in that break period, and then the Rebels will take on the 3A Union Cougars right here at Duchesne High School here tonight, and we'll have it right here on KADQ 98.3 FM and online at KADQradio.com. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned for the rest of this match. Rebels at Duchesne, and then Rebels taking on Union here at Duchesne in just a bit. Well, third set coming up. Rebels leading 2-0. They took the first set 25-10 and the second set 25-15 on the Uinta scoreboard. We got set 3 in just a minute right here on Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com.
Long lines and slow traffic. Gas prices on the rise? Save yourself a trip to the big city by stopping first at Cowboy Motor Company. You no longer have to get out of Dodge to find the best deals on vehicles. Cowboy Motor Company has them in stock. Expanding inventory and plenty of money available for lending, you can now get into Dodge at Cowboy Motor Company. Strength, honesty, and integrity. The Cowboy way. Cowboy Motor Company, 100 Wasatch Road in Evanston.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com. This is Ryan Steinekert here at Duchesne High School, and want to remind you about match later on tonight. After this match, Rebels taking on Duchesne. After this one, the Rebels will take on the Union Cougars here tonight at Duchesne High School. And then tomorrow we'll have more Rich Lady Rebel volleyball here on KADQ as the Rebels play at Manila. Wrap up region play tomorrow afternoon at Manila, and a JV match is scheduled for 11 o'clock. We'll have pregame coverage of the varsity at 12, and the match is scheduled for a beginning serve, brought to you by the station in Randolph at 12:15 tomorrow afternoon. After that, that wraps up the region play for the Rebels, but they have 2 more matches before the state tournament at Utah Valley University, August 30th and 31st. Next Thursday, the Rebels will play at Mountain Crest. Thursday night, we'll have it here on KADQ, and then on Friday, the Rebels will host North Summit, and we'll have that right after next Friday's football game as the Rebels football team hosts Diamond Ranch next Friday afternoon. Pregame at 3:20, kickoff is at 4 p.m. next Friday afternoon. So that's all coming up in the coming days for the Rich Rebel volleyball and football team. In the meantime, Rebels leading 2-0 here in the third set. Beginning serve is brought to you by the station in Randolph as Lloyd serves it over. Now the Eagles will set it up. A big hit by Kaylee Grant is long, and the Rebels lead 1-0 on the Uinta scoreboard to start this third set off. Rebels won sets 1 and 2, 25-10 and 25-15 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Lloyd now serving left to right. If you're watching online at KADQradio.com, Giles pushes it over. Peart is there. She'll set it up for Lamborn. The push down the line, and there's that perfect placement where nobody could get to it. Rebels lead 2-0 on the Uinta scoreboard. Rebels going south to north here at Duchesne High School in set 3. And Lloyd will get the ace as Melissa Robinson thought she had Hudson behind her. Robinson ducked, let it go. And it's 3-0 on the Uinta scoreboard. Reagan Lloyd with the ace. Here's Lloyd once again going to that back Hudson. Hudson passes up front. Good pass here. Skews the set for Giles. Giles the push. Peart is there. Now Lamborn, third hit, trying to get it over the net. Misplayed, and it falls to the Rebel side. And it's 3-1. Rebels with the lead on the Uinta scoreboard as number 12, who I don't have on my roster. Who's number 12? Darian Moreland goes back to serve. Moreland. Rebels set it up, and Lamborn hits it on the angle. Big hit, finds the floor, and it's 4-1 on the Uinta scoreboard. Hey, thanks. Moreland came out as wearing the libero jersey, number 16, earlier tonight. Now she's wearing number 12 here in this third set. Here's the serve by Danielle Huffner, out of bounds on the far side, right in front of that Eagle bench. And it's 4-2 on the Uinta scoreboard. Duchesne will send Kaylee Grant back to serve. Lloyd barely gets underneath it, and Peart goes down to her knees to set it up. Rebels get a good attack, but the Eagles are there, and they'll set it up. Now Peart's dig is into the net. Rebels can't get there as Giles goes up high. Nice play by Giles. She's got some good court awareness. She goes up high and hits it down as the Rebels' pass went into the net. Eagles get the point. Giles goes back to serve, and she just can't quite get it over. Just into the net on the serve. And Rebels lead 5-3 on the Uinta scoreboard as Andy Cornea goes back to serve for the Lady Rebels. Here's Cornea. Cornea goes to Giles. Giles pass up front, and Skews is there to the set, but the set is into the net. Nielsen can't get it over the top, and the Rebels lead 6-3 on the Uinta scoreboard. Cornea to serve once again. And she'll go back to Giles. Giles pass up front. Skews will set it up high for Giles on the back. Push, good strong tightrope push across the net. Rebels are there though, and they'll set it up for Lamborn. Her push is picked up by Giles. They'll set it up now to this near side for Hudson. The hit is long and out of bounds. And the Rebels lead is now up to 4. 7-3. 7-3. Rebels lead on the Uinta scoreboard. Cornea serving left to right, and Giles passes it up high. Skews comes over, sets it up for Giles on the back row. She'll push it clear back to Lloyd on the back row. Cornea coming over. Not a great pass. Now Lamborn tries to hit and hits it into the net from the back row. Just kind of a lazy hit trying to get it over the net, and the point goes to the Eagles. And the Rebel lead is now 7-3 on the Uinta scoreboard. Timeout, this lead official. I don't know if she sees something... someone out of order, or not sure what it is. This, oh yeah, the serve rotation she says is a little out of order, and they'll say Giles needs to go back and serve for the Lady Eagles. So Giles from straight away. Lamborn passes up front. Cornea will set it up for Peart. Peart the hit, and long. It's out of bounds. Point to the Eagles. It's 7-5 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Giles again, and Peart passes up front. Cornea right at the net, sets it up for Lamborn, who just keeps on this side as she tips it over. Now Lamborn pushing to the corner, not there. Nice play by Grant to keep that alive. They'll get it back over to the Rebels. Now Peterson will set it up for Peart on the angle. Giles goes down and keeps it in the air. Set up for Giles. Giles pushes to the back. Lloyd will set it up, or Cornea sets it up for Peart. Peart pushed to the Giles again in that back near corner. And the Eagles will set it up. Cornea dives to keep it alive, and the hit by Giles back toward the corner falls to the floor, and the Rebels get the point, leading 8-5 on the Uinta scoreboard as Lamborn will go back to serve now for the Rich Rebels. Here's Lamborn, and the pass, not great, but the Eagles keep it in the air, and they'll get it over in 3. Lamborn passes up front. Cornea set it up for Peart on the far side. Big hit. Nice dig by Grant. She gets it up high, and the Eagles able to play it. A push into the hole. Rebels keep it alive. A dive by Cornea. Peart pushes it over. Now the Eagles push it back over. Skew's trying to back set, trying to just dump it over. She hits it out of bounds, and the Rebels will get the point, leading 9-5 on the Uinta scoreboard. Lamborn back to serve for the Rebels. And goes to the back row. Grant up high. Now Giles the pass, the set, and Skewes will just bump it over. Cornea sets it up right near her to Lloyd. Lloyd's hit is long. Had those blockers right in front of her at the net. Trying to get it over the top of them. She hits it long. And it's 9-6. Rebels lead on the Uinta scoreboard. Lloyd passes up front. Cornea will set for Lloyd on the far side. Tipped at the net by the blocker. Skewes will keep it in the air. And the Eagles will punch it over the top. Now Cornea will set it up. Back row for Peart behind that 10-foot line. Peart hits it, and the Eagles are right there. They'll set it up. Hit down the line across the court. Or I should say on the angle and on the line by Hudson. Nice placement there by Amara Hudson, and it's 9-7 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Melissa Robinson with the serve again. Rebels are there. Cornea sets it up for Peart. Blocked and hit it into the net. Lloyd hit it one more time to try and keep it alive. But that was 4th hit for the Rebels, and it's 9-8 on the Uinta scoreboard. Lamborn passes up front. Cornea, the set for Peart. Peart hit, and Grant shanks it into the stands trying to dig it. So the Rebels get the side out there, and the lead back up to 2. 10-8 on the Uinta scoreboard as Christina Peterson will go back to serve. Peterson straight away left to right. And Grant will pass it up. They'll set it up for Hudson. Hudson the push. Peart's there. And Cornea will set it up for Peart on the far side. Blocked. Peart goes down to keep it in the air. Now Cornea will set it up again for Peart. A push to the corner. Giles and Grant can't both hit it back the wrong direction. They sprint out there by the cheerleaders and can't get to it. So the Rebels will get the point and lead 11-8 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Peterson again. Back row. Giles goes down to keep it in the air, and the Eagles will bump it over. Lamborn passes up front. Here's the set. Peart, the hit into the net. It's blocked but kept alive by the Eagles. They keep it in the air. Some nice fancy handwork. And now Peart pushes toward the corner. Giles goes lunging and keeps it in the air. Now the push clear to the back corner. Lamborn passes up front. Cornea sets it up for Peart. The big hit, just long. About center of the court, but long by Peart. And it's 11-9. Rebel lead cut back down to 2 on the Uinta scoreboard as Amara Hudson goes back to serve. And her serve into the net. Makes it 12-9. Rebel lead on the Uinta scoreboard. And Ellen Peart will go back to serve. Huffner, Hopkin, and Lloyd on the front row. Peart's serve is received by Giles. Passes it right up to the net. And the Eagles keep it alive, get it over the net. Now the Rebels will set it up for Lloyd. Hit, tipped by the blocker. Skew's trying that dump set. Brown is there. Now Peart will set it up for Lloyd. Lloyd hits it, and the Eagles are there. They'll set it up for Grant, whose hit goes into the net. And the Rebels now lead 13-9 on the Uinta scoreboard, with Peart going back to serve another time. Peart, that running jump serve down the line. Giles passes way up high over the net. Rebels Peart will set it up for Lloyd. Lloyd punches it over. Giles is there. Pass up front. Skews will set it up right there for Nielsen. Almost finds the floor. Peart dives to keep it in the air. Now it's back to the Eagles side, and 2 hits by Skews to keep it in the air, and the Rebels will get the point, leading 14-9 on the Uinta scoreboard. Rebels starting to run away with this one, and Coach Duncan sees that, recognizes it, and she'll take a timeout. Rebels leading 14-9 in set number 3 on the Uinta scoreboard. Rich took the first set 25-10. They took the second set 25-15 and lead 14-9 in set 3. We'll take a quick timeout as well and be back with more on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ-FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com.
It's time for the pre-winter checkup special.
Big O Tires, we go the extra mile. Revving up the service to make you smile. We're in the business of customer pleasing. All the right service for all the right reasons.
Receive an oil change, 22-point inspection, brake check, and tire rotation for just $59.99.
Extra miles, the way we go. We got you covered at Big O.
Big O Tires in Evanston, 607 Cheyenne Drive.
Quickly back, Ellen Peart with the serve down the line. Eagles get it over, back to the Rebels. Now Lloyd will set it up, hit, and Eagles keep it alive, keep it in the air. Rebels will set it back up for Huffner. Huffner's hit, tipped by the blockers, and rolls to the floor. And the Rebel lead is now 15-9 on the Uinta scoreboard. We had a real close one, 4-3. Rebels have kind of just slowly chipped away and extended that lead. They hit it long. The pass way back there. Hudson dives clear back near that north side wall, but can't keep it in the air, and the Rebels lead 16-9 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Peart's serve. Passed up front. Skews will set it up. Big hit by Grant, but that hit is going to be long, and the Rebel lead is now 17-9 on the Uinta scoreboard. It was 9-8. Rebels had a 1-point lead. It's been an 8-1 run since that point. And the Rebels up big now as Grant hits it over. Now dive by Lamborn to keep it alive, and Lloyd hits it toward the corner. Nice job by Hudson. Pass it up high, and now Skews will bump it over. Brown, pass up front. Peart will set it for Huffner. Huffner, the hit into the corner, just a bit long. Giles wanted to reach out and get it, but she pulled her hand back at the last second. Good decision by Giles. They're going to say that she did tip it, or that it was tipped, and the Rebels get the point and now lead 18-9. Here's the serve by Peart. The pass by Robinson, the serve receive into the net. Huffner just goes up and slams it down, and the Rebels lead 19-9 on the Uinta scoreboard here in set 3. Rebels up 2-0, and Peart serves it into the net, so that ends the run right there. Rebels win on a 10-1 run there to make this a big lead and open this third set wide open. Peart will set it up for Huffner. Huffner hit and misplayed by Alyssa Nielsen. Nielsen hits it over toward the Duchesne bench. Rebels get the serve back and lead 20-10 on the Uinta scoreboard. Rebels took the first set 25-10. Took the second 25-15. Lloyd serves left to right. Skews will set it up. Big hit by Giles. The pass goes back over. Peart just kind of getting her hands up to defend herself. The pass goes over the net and into a hole, and the Rebels lead 21-10 on the Uinta scoreboard, and Lloyd will go back to serve. Again, serving south to north, left to right, if you're watching online at KADQradio.com. Hudson pushes it over. Brown, now Peart will set it up for Lamborn, and a big hit, but nice dig by Nielsen. Eagles get it over. Now Lamborn just pushes it toward the corner. Eagles are there, and they'll set it up again for Giles. Almost finds the hole. Peart dives, a play at the net. Giles keeps it in the air. It's back to the back row, then back up to the front row and into the net, and the Rebels will get the point, leading 22-10 on the Uinta scoreboard, and Lloyd will go back to serve. Lloyd to Nielsen. Nielsen up high, Hudson up high, and now Giles will bump it over. Lamborn passes up front. They'll set it up for Lamborn. The push, oh man. They bring 3 blockers in there, and Lamborn just pushes it over to the other side of the net and into a hole of the defense, and the Rebels lead 23-10 on the Uinta scoreboard. Lloyd to the back row. Hudson pass up front. Skews trying that dump set, and Brown is there. Now Peart will set it up for Hopkin. Hopkin the hit, and nice dig by Hudson. Now Giles will punch it over. Reagan Lloyd is there, and the Rebels will set it up for Huffner. The hit, again, a nice dig by Hudson. They'll set it up this time for Grant. Rebels keep it alive after the tip by the blockers. Reagan Lloyd will just push it over, and the Eagles will set it up. Here's the set for Giles. Hit and blocked, but they're going to say a fourth hit. That hit by Giles was into the net, did not hit one of the Rebels, and Rich High leading 24-10. It's a set and match point right here for the Rebels as Lloyd serves. Passed up front, Skews trying that dump set. Rebels are there. Now they'll set it up for Lamborn. A big hit into the corner, and that's going to end it right there. The Rebels win 25-10 on the Uinta scoreboard in set number 3. Rebels make quick work of the Duchesne Lady Eagles, winning in 3 straight, 25-10, 25-15, and 25-10 on the Uinta scoreboard. Rich Rebels get the win and improve, make it keep themselves undefeated in Region 17 play. Rebels get the win over Duchesne 3-0. Well, stay tuned. That's the end of the match, but we've got plenty coming up on our post-game show. We've also got the Rich Rebels taking on the Union Lady Cougars. That's coming up right here. We're going to actually, well, we won't even stop this broadcast. We're just going to keep it right here for the Rebels against Union. So stay tuned. Post-game show coming up, and then that match against Union right after this on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com.
Find out how Chevy trucks stack up against all of the other major brand name trucks in their class. Confirm what you know or surprise yourself. Just log on to CastleRockChevy.com. Right now you can drive any new Chevy truck off the lot for just 1% over factory invoice OAC, and ask about other rebates and offers that apply.
We're Castle Rock.
Like us on Facebook, Castle Rock Chevy in Evanston, CastleRockChevy.com.
Precious time cannot be recovered once lost, said the famous Jack Sparrow. Don't lose time driving extra miles when the dental services you need are available right here in Evanston. Do you need a root canal? Do you need your wisdom teeth pulled? Are you missing teeth and want a full and perfect smile? Do you need braces? All of these services are available from our specialists right here in Evanston. This is oral surgeon A.J. Stosich, inviting you to join me and my associates. Call today to schedule an appointment at 307-789-5608. That's 307-789-5608. Save your precious time.
Throughout our lives, there are times we may need skilled rehabilitation and nursing care or home health and hospice care. Rocky Mountain Care has been providing these services since 1990. Our skilled staff and specialized programs will meet your loved one's needs. Our staff is dedicated to a high-quality outcome for each of our patients and residents. When you or someone you love needs these professional services, think of Rocky Mountain Care. Simply the best care. www.rmcare.com.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com. Rebels make quick work of the Duchesne Lady Eagles 3-0, 25-10 in the first set, 25-15 in the second set, and 25-10 in the third set on the Uinta scoreboard. And the Rebels, with that victory, keep themselves undefeated in region play. And the Rich Lady Rebels, again, as I mentioned before this match, with the win over Tabiona earlier today, they earned themselves a region title. And this win here tonight at Duchesne just absolutely solidifies that. One region match left to go. That's tomorrow at Manila. But first, the Rebels will take on the Union Lady Cougars here tonight. I see the Cougars out on the floor warming up. I'll see if I can get Coach Stewart over here to join us for a post-game interview here on our post-game show. Again, the Rebels with the win over the Duchesne Lady Eagles here tonight. And so they beat Duchesne 2 times this season, 3-0 in both of those matches. And a good solid victory for the Rebels. Now in the first set, Rich they were tied at 3. It was close real early on there. Rebels went on a 7-0 run. And then that ended. The Eagles scored a couple of points, and then the Rebels went on a 12-0 run. And in all, it was a 19-3 run Rebels finished it out, winning 25-10 in that first set on the Uinta title scoreboard. A similar story in set number 2 is it was close early on. Actually, the Rebels were down by a couple of points, 6-4, and then went on a 4-0 run, went up 8-6, and didn't look back from there. It was 9-8 at one point, and the Rebels from that point went on a 16-7 run to get the victory and win 25-15 on the Uinta title scoreboard. Set number 3 was close early on, but again a similar story. Rebels, it was 9-8. Rebels were up by just one, and the Rebels went on to win 25-10. So do the math. That's a 16-2 run to finish out that third set and get the victory in set number 3, 25-10 on the Uinta title scoreboard. So the Rebels come down here, take care of business against Tabiona earlier this afternoon, and then here against Duchesne, and there's still one match left to go here tonight. Rebels going to take on the Union Lady Cougars. If you're watching online at KADQRadio.com, you see the Cougars down there on the right side of the gym, playing a little pepper over there and trying to get things warmed up as they've made the trip over from Roosevelt High School. And the Lady Cougars, they're looking pretty good so far this season. They just wrapped up their region play the other day. And we'll hear more from Coach John Hollinger. Coach Hollinger is out there on the floor with his Cougars gathered around him. And I was able to catch up with him. We'll hear an interview from him here shortly once we start our pregame show for the Lady Rebels taking on the Lady Cougars of Union. So stay tuned. I'll try to get Coach Cindy Stewart's attention. We'll get the post-game interview coming up here in just a bit as the Rebels just defeated Duchesne 3-0, 25-10, 25-15, and 25-10 on the Uinta title scoreboard. Stay tuned. We got more of our post-game coming up on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ-FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com.
For over 100 years, Union Telephone has been providing phone service to small communities, places the big guys simply ignored. We were helping our neighbors stay connected to the rest of the country. Times have changed and technology has evolved. Union has been there the entire way. Today, we still keep people connected in more ways and places than ever before. Union Wireless, treating you like a neighbor, not a number.
Long lines and slow traffic. Gas prices on the rise? Save yourself a trip to the big city by stopping first at Cowboy Motor Company. You no longer have to get out of Dodge to find the best deals on vehicles. Cowboy Motor Company has them in stock. Expanding inventory and plenty of money available for lending, you can now get into Dodge at Cowboy Motor Company. Strength, honesty, and integrity. The Cowboy way. Cowboy Motor Company, 100 Wasatch Road in Evanston.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ-FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com. If you're watching online at KADQRadio.com, you can see Coach Stewart along with Cammie Lamborn and Ellen Peart over there lined up along with Coach John Hollinger of the Union Cougars and his two captains over there having a captain's meeting with the officials. So that means we're probably about 10, maybe 15 minutes away from the beginning serve of tonight's match between the Rebels and the Union Cougars. And that beginning serve will be brought to you by the station in Randolph. We'll have starting lineups brought to you by Stacy's Repair here in just a moment as well. And it looks like we're not going to be able to catch Coach Cindy Stewart. We'll keep trying to get her attention and see if she'll come up and chat with us here of a post-game / pre-game interview here before this match begins between the Rebels and the Union Lady Cougars. In the meantime, what we're going to go ahead and do is I was able to catch up with John Hollinger, who is the head coach of the Union Lady Cougars, and we're going to go ahead and see what he has to say. We'll have more of our pregame. We're just going to move right to the pregame show here between the Rebels and the Cougars right here on KADQ-FM 98.3. It's a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ-FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com.
Long lines and slow traffic. Gas prices on the rise? Save yourself a trip to the big city by stopping first at Cowboy Motor Company. You no longer have to get out of Dodge to find the best deals on vehicles. Cowboy Motor Company has them in stock. Expanding inventory and plenty of money available for lending, you can now get into Dodge at Cowboy Motor Company. Strength, honesty, and integrity. The Cowboy way. Cowboy Motor Company, 100 Wasatch Road in Evanston.
It's time for the pre-winter checkup special.
Big old tires, we go the extra mile. Revving up the service to make you smile. We're in the business of customer pleasing. All the right service for all the right reasons.
Receive an oil change, 22-point inspection, brake check, and tire rotation for just $59.99.
Extra miles, the way we go. We got you covered at Big O.
Big O Tires in Evanston, 607 Cheyenne Drive.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ-FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com. Time now for the Cindy Stewart pregame coaches show, brought to you by Gary McKee and Bear Lake Realty in Garden City. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back to talk with Union Cougars head coach John Hollinger. You're listening to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ-FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com.
Come see why the Bear Lake Valley has become one of the hottest real estate markets in Utah. The Reserve, Bear Lake's finest resort, is a masterfully planned recreation community nestled in the beautiful Bear Lake Valley. Luxurious mountain getaways overlooking the turquoise waters of Bear Lake. With lowering interest rates, it's a great time to buy. To find out how to make the Bear Lake Valley your next home or vacation getaway, contact BearLakeRealty.com. That's BearLakeRealty.com.
I'm here with Union head coach John Hollinger. And, Coach, thank you for joining me for today's interview.
You're welcome.
So tell me about your season so far. How are things going?
They're actually going pretty well. We're in probably one of the top two regions for 3A schools in Utah. We have the perennial state champions, Morgan, in our region. Right now we're sitting at third out of 5 teams. We just solidified our position in third place, qualifying for the state tournament on November 1st and 2nd. And our region record is 4-4 right now, and we're about, I would say, I think we're about 12-7 for the season. We came in third in a tournament down in St. George for 3A schools, and we lost in a tournament at Duchesne in the finals where we had 2 varsity teams there, so we kind of split our team up a little bit. But overall, we've had a really good season. We're a pretty young team. Most of my players are sophomores, even at the varsity level. I only have 2 seniors and a couple of 2 or 3 juniors, and the rest are sophomores and a freshman or 2.
I was noticing that on your lineup, you've only got, I think, 1 senior starting. So has that senior stepped up in a leadership role?
Yeah, she's a little bit streaky. You know, this is only my 3rd year here, and I wasn't able to develop a lot of these players who are seniors and juniors. And so she's one of the most athletic players that I've seen anywhere. She can really jump, and when she gets a hold of the ball, it's pretty impressive. But she can be streaky sometimes, but she works really hard. She wants to get a lot better, and if she can just get a little more training, I think she could play college ball.
Now, you said that you feel like your season is going well. Do you have, of the sophomores that are getting a lot of playing time, or juniors and even seniors, do any of them have much experience at the varsity level in past years?
I have a sophomore setter. She's a starter, and she set all last year for me as a freshman. Well, she split sometime at the beginning of the season, but she was clearly the better setter, and that's Portia Laberman. Also, the girl who's playing libero for me against Rich will be, she's typically a defensive specialist, but my normal libero, who is a true freshman, is not going to be there. She had a family vacation planned during this time. So, but this other girl, she played varsity last year also, some. Yeah, my normal libero, I actually have 2. Neither one of them will be there, but one is a true freshman and the other is a sophomore, and the sophomore played varsity also last year. So, yeah, we're a pretty young team, but they're getting a lot better, and most of them play club ball. also. So they have quite a bit of experience.
Now, the schedule that I have shows that you actually wrapped up your regular schedule this past Tuesday.
Yeah, we did. We had a really tough match against Uinta High School, who is right now ranked second in our region, and we beat them in a very tight match at Union High School, 3-2.
So this match against Rich is kind of a bonus match thrown in there in a time where you may have had a few days off otherwise.
Yeah, they changed our format the way the season ended up this year. They lengthened the time between our last match, and we lost a team in our region. So we ended up with a huge break between our last region match and the state tournament, which starts November 1st. We had this 2.5-week break, and so I had a couple of openings, and so I called the head of Utah Volleyball and said, we have an extra, and then I got a call from the Rich coach, and she said, let's get together and play. And they have a good reputation for being a very solid team. I know they've been contenders and state champions, and so we figure they're going to be a very tough team to play, and that's what we want, because we want to continue to prepare for the state tournament. So we'll play Rich on Friday night in Duchesne, and then we move on next week. We're going to play Snow Canyon High School down in Nephi at Juab High School.
Well, looking at this match against Rich, what are your keys for the match?
Typically, we're at our best when we're very aggressive and we attack. Typically, we don't have to worry too much about blocking. We have a couple really good middles. They're both my starting middles are sophomores, but they're good, strong girls, and technically pretty good blockers. One in particular, Aaliyah Richards, is an outstanding blocker. The other is not quite as good a blocker, but she can hit the ball very, very hard, and it's fun to see her to hit the ball.
Well, thank you to Coach John Hollinger, head coach of the Union Lady Cougars, for that interview. And you've been listening to the pregame coaches show, brought to you by Gary McKee and Bear Lake Realty in Garden City. We're just moments away from the beginning serve, brought to you by the station in Randolph. Quickly, the starting lineups for the Cougars of Union: Aaliyah Richards, number 3, number 25, Haley Crozier, number 15, Portia Labrum, number 26, Shayla Draper, number 12, Abigail Hartle, and number 27, Haley Herricks. And back to serve is number 15, Portia Labrum. Rebels will set it up for Lamborn. Lamborn the push toward the right there in front of the net, and the Cougars are there, but the hit from outside by Malia Robinson is out of bounds. It hits that net and just outside the antenna. So the Rebels take an early 1-0 lead against Union here as we are underway. That beginning serve brought to you by the station in Randolph. Huffner back to serve, and the libero just kind of tips it into the air. Union keeps it alive and gets it over. Peart will set it up for Lamborn. Lamborn, the big hit to the back line, and she hammers that one home. Rebels lead 2-0 on the Winnetitle scoreboard. I'm going to have a chat with Coach Hollinger because there are a couple numbers out there that are not quite consistent with what he told me we would have today. So we'll have to sort that out. Here's Huffner, the serve, and to the back row. The Cougars will set it up. Big hit, and into the net, blocked by the Rebels. Now the Cougars will keep it alive. Rebels will set it up for Lamborn. Lamborn the push, and she pushes it right into the blockers, who tip it to the floor. And it's number 10 out there, who is listed on my roster as Lexi Anderson. Can't see the last name on that back of the jersey. We'll try to get this sorted out. But the Rebel lead is cut to 2-1 by the Cougars there on the Winnetitle scoreboard. Here's Lamborn after the serve. Peart will push it toward that back corner, and a misplay to shank by the libero, who is Abigail Hartle, wearing number 68. And the Rebels get the point and lead 3-1 on the Winnetitle scoreboard. Back to serve goes Andy Cornea for the Rebels. Nice serve there, just clears the net. They'll go down and get it. Now they'll set it up, and a nice hit. Boy, beautiful placement there by number 27. Not sure who that is for Union. She's not listed here on this roster. So the point for the Cougars, and it's 3-2 on the Winnetitle scoreboard. Here's Cornea setting it up for Lamborn, and Lamborn pushes it over. The dig is bumped clear out of bounds, way up into the stands, and Rebels up now 4-2 on the Winnetitle scoreboard, and Lamborn will go back to serve. Lamborn serves. And a diving dig by Malia Robinson, keep it in the air. And a nice job by Robinson, gets it over the net and into a hole in the Rebel defense. And it's 4-3 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. With Shayla Draper back to serve. Rebels will set it up for Peart. Peart the hit toward the sideline. Draper passes it way up high at the bench, and the Cougars keep it alive. Now Lamborn will set it up, or Cornea sets it up for Peart. Peart the tip over the blockers, a beautiful tip, and into a hole. Emily Wolstenhume is one of the blockers there that can't get up high enough to it, and the Rebels lead 5-3 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Peterson back to serve now for the Rebels. Left to right if you're watching online at KADQradio.com. As Hartle gets the dig, they'll hit it over. Rebels are there, and they'll set it up. Here's Lamborn. Hit to the back row. Hartle's back there, and she'll pass it up front and hit over the net, a bump. Lamborn is there. Now Cornea will set it up for Peart. Peart hammers it, but into the blockers. And again, Wolstenhume is the blocker there, and blocks it to the Rebel side, and it's 5-4. Point to Union on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Back to serve goes Haley Horrocks, rather. The serve. Rebels will set it up, and Lamborn hits from the back row, gets it by the defenders to the floor, and the Rebels' lead is now 6-4 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. First set, Rebels and the Union Lady Cougars. And here's Ellen Peart. Peart to the back row, passed up front. Cougars will set it up, and here's the hit. Big hit by Wolstenhume. And she hammers that one home, and it's 6-5 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Rebels lead by just one. The hit there actually was Aaliyah Richards, and she gets that kill. Now Hartle back to serve. Lamborn passes up front. Peart will set it for Lloyd. Lloyd's hit blocked at the net, but blocked to the floor by Lexi Anderson. And the Rebels will get the point and now lead 7-5 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Back to serve is Reagan Lloyd. Lloyd serves to the back row. Hartle will pass up front. Not a good set into the net. And Malia Robinson goes into the net trying to get to it, but she can't quite get there. And the Rebels lead 8-5 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. And Lloyd back to serve one more time. Pass up front by Hartle, or by Horrocks rather. Tips right back to the floor, and the Rebels will get the point, leading 9-5 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Here's Lloyd once again. She's shifted over a little bit from her serve position. Union will set it up. Big hit down the line. Rebels block it, but block it out of bounds, and Robinson will get the kill. And the lead is cut down 9-6. Rebels with the lead on the Uinetalo scoreboard. And back to serve goes Portia Labrum, the setter. As the Rebels will just tip it up, keep it alive, but then Lamborn trying to push it over, doesn't get quite enough on it. And it's 9-7 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Rebels up by just 2 as Hartle goes back to serve once again. And Hartle, they get it over. Rebels get it back over to the Cougars. Now the Cougars will set it up, and Lloyd is back there to dig up the hit. Now the Rebels will just bump it over by Lamborn. Cougars will set it up, a back set. Here's the hit, blocked by the Rebels, but out of bounds on that big hit by Shayla Draper. And it's 9-8. Rebel lead cut to 1 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. As Labrum will go back to serve again. Running jump serve, just clears the net. Lloyd goes down to the floor to keep it alive. Set for Lamborn. Big hit right at Hartle. Hartle can't dig it up, and it's hit into the stands. The Rebels lead 10-8 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. And Danielle Huffner goes back to serve for the Lady Rebels. Huffner from this near side. And the Cougars have a hard time with the first pass. Not a good set, and it finds the floor. Rebels lead 11-8 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Timeout on the floor. We'll take a quick timeout as well and be back with more on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com.
Find out how Chevy trucks stack up against all of the other major brand name trucks in their class. Confirm what you know or surprise yourself. Just log on to CastleRockChevy.com. Right now, you can drive any new Chevy truck off the lot for just 1% over factory invoice OAC, and ask about other rebates and offers that apply.
We're Castle Rock.
Like us on Facebook, Castle Rock Chevy in Evanston, CastleRockChevy.com.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com. Rebels with a narrow 11-8 lead in the first set over Union. Rich High went 3 and out, won 3-0 against Tabiona this afternoon at Tabiona, and then beat Duchesne 3-0 earlier, just not long ago, right here at Duchesne High School. Now the Rebels with Huffner back to serve. The pass goes over the net. Lamborn is there. They'll set it up, Peart for Lamborn. The push toward the corner. Nice play by the Cougars to keep that one alive. And then a hit blocked by Peterson, but blocked to this side of the net, the Rebel side. And the Cougars will get the point, making it 11-9. Rebels up by 2 on the Uinta scoreboard. Back to serve goes number 8, Emily Wolf. No, Cameron Labrum, I believe. I'll have to double check that. Rebels having a hard time getting it back over the net, and the point will go to the Lady Cougars, and it's a 1-point match, or 1-point game. This is Malia Robinson back to serve. It's 11-10 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Robinson, good strong serve. Huffner passes up high. Peart will set it up for Lamborn. Lamborn hit across to this side on the angle. Now the Cougars will set it up. Keep wanting to say Eagles because that's who the Rebels played and beat moments ago against Duchesne. The hit into the net by Haley Horrocks, and the Rebel lead back up to 2, 12-10 on the Uinta scoreboard. And Annie Cornea checks in to go back and serve for the Rebels. She gets the whistle, and here's the serve going left to right if you're watching online at KADQRadio.com. Here's the hit by Horrocks, and the Rebels are there. They'll set it up for Lamborn. The big hit to the corner. It's just a bit deep in that near side back corner. And the lead cut back to 1, 12-11 on the Uinta scoreboard. Lexi Anderson back to serve for Union. Peart passes up to Cornea. Cornea will set for Peart on the far side. Hit into the middle. It's tipped by the blockers, and now the Cougars will set it up. Big block by Peart. Now she'll keep it alive. Set back up for Peart. Peart hits to the back row. Pass goes way up high. Now Robinson will pass it up front, and the Eagles will get it. Cornea just barely gets enough underneath it for Peterson to get there, and Peterson's bump goes out the door, and we're tied at 12 on the Uinta scoreboard. As Robinson goes back to serve again, or that's Anderson rather, for the Cougars. Rebels pass up into the net. Nice job by Cornea. Gets it to Peart. Peart's hit is blocked. Cornea coming over on the set, and she can't quite get there. And the Cougars on top for the first time in this set, 13-12 on the Uinta scoreboard. On a little bit of a run here, a 3-0 run. Now the pass, Peart, not a great pass. Lamborn, nice set, and Peart pushes it over. Cougars will set up now and just tip it into the hole, and it was just out. Wolstenhume just pushed it into that hole like we see Lamborn do all the time, but she just pushed it a bit far. And now Lamborn goes back to serve and serves it into the net, giving the Cougars the lead once again, 14-13. On the Uinta scoreboard, as Shayla Draper goes back to serve. Her serve just barely clears the net. Rebels will set it up. Lamborn hit into the corner. A perfect placement. Boy, that to me looks like it was out, but it's right there in front of the line judge in that near side far corner there. And she calls it in. It's 14-all on the Uinta scoreboard. We're tied up. Here's the serve, and it's passed back over the net. Now Cornea will set it up for Peart. Peart's tip just a little bit too high, and the blockers come down to get to it. Now back over to the Rebels. Cornea sets it up now again for Peart. Hit and tipped into the middle of the court. Wolstenhume passes the set up high, and we have a player into the net. Rebels will get the point. One of the Union Cougars coming up to try and get it and keep it in the air goes into the net, and the Rebels lead 15-14 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Peterson back to serve now. The set and the hit, and Rebels are there. They'll keep it alive. Nice job by Peart. Passes it way up high, and the Rebels will set for Peterson. Now a hit and a nice placement by Portia Labrum. She saw the Rebel defense starting to get in position and saw a hole there and just tipped it over there on the second hit on that side for the Lady Cougars. Haley Horrocks back to serve now and just hits the top of the net, rolls over, and drops to the floor. Brown dives trying to get there, but not close, and it's 16-15. Rebels down by 1 on the Uinta scoreboard as Horrocks back to serve again. The senior goes to Lamborn. Nice pass up front to Cornea. The set for Peart is blocked as Peart makes the hit. Now the Rebels keep it alive, and they'll just have to bump it over. Peart bumps it over. Now the Cougars will set it up, and they set it for Wollstonhume here. Nice job by Brown to keep that one alive, and Peart will bump it over for the Rebels. The Cougars now will set it up, and here's the big hit. This one's going to be long as Robinson went up high and hit it hard. They're calling for a block. They wanted a block or a tip by the Rebels. They're not going to get it, and the Rebels tie it up at 16 on the Uinta scoreboard. Well, these two teams just real evenly matched so far. Here's Peart with the serve. Then the pass goes back up over the net. Huffner keeps it alive. Now Lamborn pushes it over. A dive by Horrocks, but nobody else can get to it after she gets underneath it. And it's 16-17. Rebels with the lead, 17-16 on the Uinta scoreboard. Peart serving. Again to the back row, passed up front by Horrocks. Now the set, and it's over the net on the set. Out of bounds. It's on the Rebel side of the net, but it's out of bounds, so the Rebels will get the point and lead 18-16 on the Uinta scoreboard. Peart back to serve again, left to right if you're watching online at KADQradio.com. Hartle will pass across the court. Now Wollstonhume, nice tip. She just tips it over into the hole of the defense. Rebel blockers and defenders were kind of backing off a little bit, and it's 18-17 on the Uinta scoreboard as Hartle goes back to serve once again. Good, strong running jump serve. Here's Peart. The set for Lloyd. Lloyd's push, just a roof put on top by Lexi Anderson. Dropped right back down to the floor, and we're tied at 18 on the Uinta scoreboard. And Anderson, some definite height out there. We've got Danielle Huffner listed at 5'11", I believe. And Anderson a couple of inches on Huffner. The pass by the Rebels after that serve by Hartle into the Rebel bench, and it's 19-18. Lady Cougars back on top in set number 1. Here's Hartle, and Huffner passes. Now Peart will set it up for Huffner. Huffner's hit is blocked at the net. It rolls across the top of the net, and Portia Labrum goes out of bounds trying to keep it alive, but she hits it to her teammates on the bench, and it's tied up back at 19. The Rebels have the serve now as Reagan Lloyd will go back. Lloyd to Hartle. Hartle passes up front right into the net. Nice set by the setter Labrum, and a big hit by the Cougars, who get back on top. That hit into the corner. Rebels couldn't get there, and it's 20-19 on the Uinta scoreboard with Labrum going back to serve, and Huffner got underneath it, but couldn't play it, or couldn't keep it where the rest of the teammates could play it. And it's 21-19 on the Uinta scoreboard. Rebels down by 2. Here's Labrum again, and Lloyd passes high. Peart will set it up for Lamborn. Big hit, blocked, and Peart dives to get it back over the net, gets lucky as the Cougars thought it was on the floor and kind of just got caught flat-footed. Rebels will get the point, and it's 21-20 on the Uinta scoreboard. Danielle Huffner goes back to serve, and Emily Hopkin back into the game on that front row. Here's Huffner's serve. Hartle, the libero, sets it back into the net, or passes it into the net. The set is way outside the antenna, and Horrocks trying to get it over the net, hits it on the outside of the antenna, so we're tied at 21 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Huffner again. Pass goes up high. Now they'll set it up, and a hit into the net by, I believe it was Robinson, swinging away, and the Rebels lead 22-21 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Huffner once again, and the pass goes up over the net. Lamborn just goes up and pushes it to the floor, and the Rebels lead 23-21 on the Uinta scoreboard. 2 points away from a first set victory here against Union. We'll see what happens when we come back on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com.
Precious time cannot be recovered once lost, said the famous Jack Sparrow. Don't lose time driving extra miles when the dental services you need are available right here in Evanston. Do you need a root canal? Do you need your wisdom teeth pulled? Are you missing teeth and want a full and perfect smile? Do you need braces? All of these services are available from our specialists right here in Evanston. This is oral surgeon A.J. Stosich inviting you to join me and my associates. Call today to schedule an appointment at 307-789-5608. That's 307-789-5608. Save your precious time.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com. Rebels leading 23-21 on the Uinta title scoreboard. And Danielle Huffner back to serve. Rebels going to try and pick up the victory here in this first set. Hartle passes up front after the serve. Not a good set, but the Cougars keep it alive and bump it over. Now Peart, a back set for Hopkins. Hopkins' push is blocked right back to the floor. Rebels can't get underneath it, and it's 23-22 on the Uinta title scoreboard. A 1-point set here, as Malia Robinson goes back to serve for the Union Lady Cougars. Jump serve, and Lloyd passes up front. Peart will set for Lamborn. Lamborn's pushed to the center of the floor. Cougars are there, and they'll set it up. Big hit blocked by the Rebels, and Huffner can't get to it. So we're tied now at 23 on the Uinta title scoreboard. Back to serve again goes Robinson. And now we're going to have a timeout on the floor. We'll take a quick timeout as well. We're tied at 23 on the Uinta title scoreboard. Back in just 30 seconds on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com.
Throughout our lives, there are times we may need skilled rehabilitation and nursing care or home health and hospice care. Rocky Mountain Care has been providing these services since 1990. Our skilled staff and specialized programs will meet your loved one's needs. Our staff is dedicated to a high-quality outcome for each of our patients and residents. When you or someone you love needs these professional services, think of Rocky Mountain Care. Simply the best care. www.rmcare.com.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com. As Robinson back to serve, and Lamborn, good serve by Robinson. Boy, that placement, or is that, yeah, that is Robinson. Boy, almost an ace there. Lamborn dove but couldn't quite get to it. Now it's set point 24-23 on the Uinta title scoreboard. The serve into the net, and we're tied at 24. Boy, could be a costly mistake there as the Rebels now get the serve, and it's Andy Cornea coming in on the rotation. Checking in to serve for the Rebels. Cornea goes to the back row with it. Cougars set it up, and here's the hit. And nice job by Cornea diving to keep it in the air, but tipped back to the Rebels by Lexi Anderson. The Rebels can't keep it up, and it's 24-25. Rebels down by 1 on the Uinta title scoreboard. As Anderson now will go back to serve. And another timeout on the floor. Yes, indeed. Rebels trail 25-24 in set 1 on the Uinta title scoreboard. We'll take a quick break and be back on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com.
For over 100 years, Union Telephone has been providing phone service to small communities, places the big guys simply ignored. We were helping our neighbors stay connected to the rest of the country. Times have changed and technology has evolved. Union has been there the entire way. Today, we still keep people connected in more ways and places than ever before. Union Wireless, treating you like a neighbor, not a number.
Rebels down 25-24 on the Uinta title scoreboard here as we come to the final points of set number 1. These Rebels taking on the Union Cougars here at Duchesne High School. Rebels beat Tabiona earlier today, 3-0. Then they beat Duchesne 3-0 in 3 straight sets. And now they trail, though, in the first set, 25-24. Here's the serve. Peart passes up to Cornea. Cornea will set it up for Peart. The big hit blocked and to the floor. And the Cougars are going to win set number 1, 26-24 on the Uinta title scoreboard. Rebels got the play they wanted, but great job on the blocking by the Cougars, Lady Cougars. And the Rebels lose the first set, 26-24 on the Uinta scoreboard. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with set number 2 here on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com.
Long lines and slow traffic. Gas prices on the rise? Save yourself a trip to the big city by stopping first at Cowboy Motor Company. You no longer have to get out of Dodge to find the best deals on vehicles. Cowboy Motor Company has them in stock. Expanding inventory and plenty of money available for lending, you can now get into Dodge at Cowboy Motor Company. Strength, honesty, and integrity. The Cowboy way. Cowboy Motor Company, 100 Wasatch Road in Evanston.
It's time for the pre-winter checkup special.
Big O Tires, we go the extra mile. Revving up the service to make you smile. We're in the business of customer pleasing. All the right service for all the right reasons.
Receive an oil change, 22-point inspection, brake check, and tire rotation for just $59.99.
Extra miles, the way we go. We got you covered at Big O.
Big O Tires in Evanston, 607 Cheyenne Drive.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com. And the Union Lady Cougars take the first set in a close one, 26-24. The Rebels were right there, and it was a close set all the way through. Neither team got up by more than maybe 3 points. The Rebels were ahead 11-8 at one point. I think that was the biggest lead of that first set for either team. But the Cougars came back and got the victory, 26-24. And the Rebels will have the serve to start this second set. Beginning serve will be brought to you by the station in Randolph. Today's broadcast also brought to you in part by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff. Our starting lineups were brought to you by Stacy's Repair. And here's that beginning serve by Ellen Peart, brought to you by the station in Randolph. Pass, or the serve receive goes right back over the net. Now the Rebels will set it up for Lamborn, push down the line. And the Cougars are there. They'll bump it over the net, just scrambling to keep it in the air. Cornea will set it up for Lamborn again on this near side. The set is way outside, so Lamborn not able to get a lot of power on the hit. Now the hit by Robinson. Rebels are there, but it's tipped at the net, and the Cougars take a 1-0 lead in set number 2. Back to serve is Labrum. Labrum. That floater serve. Peart goes down. Now Cornea sets it up for Lamborn. Big hit into the net, though. Might have had something to do with the blockers right there, and it's 2-0 on the Uinta scoreboard. The Rebels playing right now like they've already played 2 full matches today. Now Labrum serves it into the net, and the Rebels will get their first point of the second set, trailing 2-1 on the Uinta scoreboard. And the Rebels beat Taviona and Duchesne already today. Here's their third full set of the day. Here's Huffner. Set serve to the back row. Passed up, and now Hartle, and then bumped over the net. Now Brown will come over. Cornea sets it up back row to Peart. Peart the hit, and not a great pass, and the Cougars again will just scramble and bump it over. They do get it over the net. Now Cornea will set it up to this near side for Lamborn, who tips it into the net, or into the hole. A dive by Labrum. She does get a finger on it, but not enough for the teammates to play it, and we're tied at 2 on the Uinta scoreboard. Danielle Huffner back again to serve. Huffner serving right to left if you're watching online at KADQradio.com. Now the Cougars set it up, but the set by Labrum into the net, and her attacker, Chelsea Burchell, can't get to it. So the Rebels lead 3-2 on the Uinta scoreboard, and Huffner to serve again from that far side, north to south. Hartle receives. They'll pass it and hit it. Set it back to Hartle. Huffner, nice job. She just sticks an arm out there and gets it back into the air. Rebels keep it alive and get it over the net. Labrum will set it up and hit to the net, but the Rebels 4 hits. Not sure. They must have said. I'm confused there because the official signaled 4 hits, but it had just been hit to the Rebel side of the net. Regardless, we're tied at 3. On the Uinta scoreboard. Peart passes. Cornea sets it up to the back row. Peart hit, and Hartle passes up front. Labrum will set it up, and here's the hit by Horrocks. Big hit, dug up by Lamborn, and dug up again as she's on the floor. She reaches out and punches it over. Now the Cougars will set it up. Brown passes up. Cornea will set for Lamborn, who hits it into the net just a little bit on top of it. and that'll make it 4-3. Lady Cougars on top by 1 on the Uinta scoreboard. Lamborn out there cheering her teammates on. She's saying, let's go, guys. Let's get back in. Let's take this. Here's Robinson. The serve hits the top of the net and drops down and just catches Huffner flat-footed. And the Lady Cougars lead 5-3 on the Uinta scoreboard. Back to serve again goes Malia Robinson. Lamborn passes to Cornea. Cornea back. The set for Lamborn. It's blocked at the net. Rebels will set it up again for Lamborn. Lamborn this time just tips it. Boy, the Cougars are quick. They kept it in the air for a couple of hits, but couldn't control it, and the Rebels down by 1, 5-4 after that point on the Uinta scoreboard. Hopkin will check in, and Brown out as Cornea goes back to serve. Nice serve, just clears the net. Hartle, her serve receive goes out of bounds, but the Cougars able to keep it alive and get it over the net in 3. Cornea now will set it up for Lamborn, who just absolutely hammers it home down the line. Big kill there, and we're tied at 5 on the Uinta scoreboard. Lamborn coming alive in these last few points. Here's Cornea with the serve. Pass up front. Labrum, the set. Big hit by Horrocks, and Rebels are there. Peart, the serve that digs it up, and it just goes right back over the net. Now the Cougars set it up. Rebels pass back into the net. Lamborn can't quite get there, and the Rebels will lose that point, trailing 6-5 on the Uinta scoreboard. And back to serve goes Lexi Anderson. Anderson to right between Peart and Lamborn, finds the seam. Peart plays it, but clear over into the stands. Lamborn went out there sliding about 12 feet, trying to get to that. Nice diving effort, but point goes to the Cougars. Now Lamborn lets this one go, and it's in there in the corner. An ace for Anderson, and it's 8-5 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Anderson again. This serve is way long. That was about 15, maybe 18 feet long. That was out of bounds even if we're playing basketball. And the lead is cut back down to 2, 8-6 on the Uinta scoreboard as Lamborn goes back to serve. They barely get underneath it. The hit by Horrocks, though, boy, she finds the angle and hammers it down. And Haley Horrocks, the senior, gets the serve back to the Lady Cougars, leading 9-6 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's the serve by Chelsea Burchell. And Rebels will set it up for Peart, hit to Hartle. Hartle passes up front. Labrum for Wolstenhume, and the Rebels can't get underneath it. Wolstenhume, not much power. She just tipped it into the Rebel hole in the defense. And it's 10-6 Lady Cougars on the Uinta scoreboard. Whitley Weston checks in for Huffner. Rebels will set it up for Peart. Peart's hit is long, a little bit deep, and they're going to say, though, that it was tipped, I believe. So the Rebels get the point there and trail 10-7 on the Uinta scoreboard. Timeout on the floor, and we'll take a timeout as well. We'll be back after this on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com.
Find out how Chevy trucks stack up against all of the other major brand name trucks in their class. Confirm what you know or surprise yourself. Just log on to CastleRockChevy.com. Right now you can drive any new Chevy truck off the lot for just 1% over factory invoice OAC, and ask about other rebates and offers that apply.
We're Castle Rock.
Like us on Facebook, Castle Rock Chevy in Evanston, CastleRockChevy.com.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball, and my mistake, they do correct the scoreboard. That hit was long by Peart. Point goes to the Cougars, and it's 11-6. Rebels get it back over on the serve. Now the Cougars will try to set it up, but not a good pass, and they'll just have to push it over. Now Cornea will set. Here's Peart with the hit. Blocked, and those blockers are killing the Rebels right now. They're just been trying to power through them, and they can't get through. It's 12-6 on the Uinta scoreboard. Wolstenhume, some good height up there. Now the Rebels will let this serve go, and it's long. Serve out of bounds by Chelsea Burchell, and it's 12-7. Rebels down by 5 on the Uinta scoreboard. Lady Cougars won the first set, 26-24. Here's Lloyd back to serve, right to left. If you're watching online at KADQradio.com, they'll set it up for Wolstenhume, and that's all she has done tonight. She gets up close to the net and just tips it over the top of the blockers. She does it again there. And the Rebels not looking for it, makes it 13-7. on Uinta scoreboard. Haley Horrocks back to serve now for the Lady Cougars. Reagan Lloyd passes up front. Peart hits it, tipped by the blockers. They'll set it up now. Here's the hit, and Lamborn is there. Pass up front. Cornea will set it for Peart. Peart trying to tip it over, just push it over into a hole. Not there. The back set, a little dump by Labrum. Almost get it. Now they'll set it up for Labrum. The hit, Lamborn is there. Dig it up and set it up high for Peart. And Peart, the big hit to the back row. Cougars are there. Now they'll set it up. And again, Wilson Hume just tips it over the blockers into a hole. And she's done that at least 4 or 5 times in this match. And it's 14-7 on the Uinta scoreboard. I haven't seen Wilson Hume really take a swing at a ball. She just tips it over. Now here's the the serve by Horrocks, and she serves it into the net. So the Rebels will get the point there. It's 14-8 on the Uinta scoreboard. And Emily Hopkin will go back to serve for the Rebels. Hopkin serves to the back row. Cougars will keep it in the air. Now the big hit. Rebels are there. Nice dig by Lamborn. Pass into the front, and Peart will just tip it over the net. Now here's the set, and again, Wilson Hume. Rebels are ready for it this time. They keep it in the air. Now Peart pushes it over. Now Labrum will set it to the far side. Here's the hit. Rebels trying to keep it alive, and Lloyd diving, almost got there, but couldn't quite get underneath it. And it's 15-8 on the Uinta scoreboard. Cougars starting to pull away in this one. It was 5-5. Cougars on a 10-3 run since that point. Here's Hartle, the jump serve. Lamborn passes up front. Cornea sets for Peart. Peart's push over the top, tipped at the line by the blockers. And now the Cougars will set it up, and going up high, but into the net goes Malia Robinson. So the Rebels will get the point there, I believe, and trail 15-9 on the Uinta scoreboard with Ellen Peart back to serve. Peart serve to the back row. Horrocks passes up front. Labrum. The set. Here's the hit. This one way long by Lexi Anderson. And Rebels to within 5, 15-10 on the Uinta scoreboard. As Peart goes back to serve once again. Peart serve to the back row. Horrocks. And she'll set it up, pass it up front. The hit again by Lexi Anderson is long. And the Rebels will get the point. It's 15-11 on the Uinta scoreboard. Rebels down by 4. Here's Peart, the serve. Ooh, just long. Looked like it was almost on that back line, but it's just a bit long, and that makes it 16-11 on the Uinta scoreboard. Rebels trailing in set number 2. They lost the first set 26-24. Cornea just tips it over as that pass up front was right into the net. Now the Rebels block it. Nice job by Huffner to get up there. Cougars keep it alive, and now they'll try to hit it, and it's hit into the net by Robinson. So the Rebels will get the point there, down by 4 again, 16-12 on the Uinta scoreboard. And Danielle Huffner back to serve with Cornea, Lamborn, and Lloyd up on the front row. Here's Labrum. The set, the tip, and it's tipped short by Chelsea Burchell. And so the Rebels now to within 3, 16-13 on the Uinta scoreboard. Timeout on the floor. We'll take a quick one as well. Rebels trailing 16-13 in set number 2 to the Union Cougars on the Uinta scoreboard. And you're listening to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com.
Precious time cannot be recovered once lost, said the famous Jack Sparrow. Don't lose time driving extra miles when the dental services you need are available right here in Evanston. Do you need a root canal? Do you need your wisdom teeth pulled? Are you missing teeth or want a full and perfect smile? Do you need braces? All of these services are available from our specialists right here in Evanston. This is endodontist Les Walker inviting you to join me and my associates. Call today to schedule an appointment at 307-789-5608. That's 307-789-5608. Save your precious time.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Lady Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ 98.3 FM and online at KADQradio.com. Here's Huffner with the serve. Rebels trailing 16-13 on the Uinta scoreboard. Lamborn, they'll set it up. Labrum sets it up. Rebels block it, and it's tipped into the air by the Cougars. Rebels will get the point. And now down by just 2, 16-14 on the Uinta scoreboard. Rebels actually led early on in this set, 3-2. But that's the last time they were ahead in this set. Here's Labrum, the set to the back row, and Rebels, nice job by Peart, pass it up high and up front. Cornea sets it for Lamborn. The pass goes right back over. Lamborn the hit to the back line. It's on the line, and the Rebels within one, 16-15 on the Uinta scoreboard. Rebels on a big run here, a 7-1 run. And Huffner, the serve. Hartle passes up front. Labrum will set it up, hit by Burchell down the line. Brown got a piece of it, and it's in. So that ends the run at 7-1 right there. It's 17-15. Lady Rebels trail the Lady Cougars on the Uinta scoreboard in set 2. Cougars won the first set 26-24. Here's the serve by Robinson. Rebels will pass it up front. Lamborn, the big hit, falls between the blockers and the net, and the Rebels will get the point. That time Lamborn's power hit it worked. The blockers were there, but they had left that little space between themselves and the net. And the Rebels get the serve back, trailing 17-16 on the Uinta scoreboard. Andy Cornea goes back to serve. Hartle passes up front. Labrum will set, and it's in the net. Oh, nice job by Cornea to keep that one in the air, and the Rebels somehow get it over the net. The Cougars now will set it up. Here's the push over. Huffner's there, and Cornea will set for Lamborn here on this near side. The push tip at the net by Lexi Anderson to the floor on the Cougar side, and the Rebels have tied it up at 17. Rebels were down 12-6. They fought back, and they're right back in it here, tied at 17. Here's Cornea. The set, Horrocks passes up front. Now Labrum sets it up for Horrocks on the far side. Hit down the line, and that's right there in front of Coach Stewart. She thought it was out. The line judge on that side said it was in, and she's the decider there. So it's an in. That's in, and it's 18-17. Cougars back on top on the Uinta scoreboard as Lexi Anderson goes back to serve. Anderson serve into the net. In basketball, we say ball don't lie when something like that happens, and the Rebels will get the serve back. Tied up at 18 on the Uinta scoreboard as Lamborn will go back to serve. Her serve to the back row, passed up high by Horrocks. Now Labrum will set it up for Horrocks. Here's the hit by Horrocks. This one long. Rebels will let it go. Good decision there, and it's 19-18. Rebels back on top. They led 3-2 early in this match, or in this set, and they're back up 19-18. Here's Lamborn. Pass into the net. Rebels are there. Tipped over by Labrum, but out of bounds. Rebels will get the point, now leading 20-18 on the Uinta scoreboard. Lamborn back again to serve. Right to left if you're watching online at KADQradio.com. Not a great pass. Labrum will set it up back row to Robinson. Her hit is long. Huffner just did get a tip of it, trying to play it. If she lets it go, it's a point for the Rebels. But she just got a tip of it, and the point will go to the Cougars. They'll have the serve now, down 20-19. Lamborn passes to Cornea. Cornea the set for Peart. Peart hit to Hartle on the back row. Hartle passes up front. Labrum will set it up, and now Wolstenhume swings away, and she hammers it down into the corner. I've seen her go up and just tip it each of the other times that she's been set up, and this time she hammers it. Now the Rebels bring in Whitley Weston. Rebels will set it up for Peart at the line, blocked by Wolstenhume. They'll set it up for Peart again, hit across the angle, and the Cougars are there. They'll set it up for Horrocks. Horrocks tips it over. Rebels right there. Now Hopkin will set it up near side for Peart. Peart push into the corner. Hartle, nice job going to get it. Wolstenhume goes up and swings away again. Lamborn digs it. It goes over the net. Now Labrum tips it over on the set, and the Rebels get it right back. Now the Cougars set it up to the back row. Tipped by Hopkin at the net, down to the floor, and the Cougars rather, will get the point and lead 21-20 on the Uinta scoreboard. Cougars won the first set 26-24. Here we are in set 2. It's a one-point game. Lloyd passes up front. Cornea sets it for Peart. Peart's hit into the net, blocked. I think they're going to say it was in the net, not blocked. And it'll make it 22-20. Rebels trail on the Uinta scoreboard, and a timeout on the floor for Coach Stewart. We'll take a quick one as well and be back with more of a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ-FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com.
Throughout our lives, there are times we may need skilled rehabilitation and nursing care or home health and hospice care. Rocky Mountain Care has been providing these services since 1990. Our skilled staff and specialized programs will meet your loved one's needs. Our staff is dedicated to a high-quality outcome for each of our patients and residents. When you or someone you love needs these professional services, think of Rocky Mountain Care. Simply the best care. www.rmcare.com.
Rebels trailing 22-20 on the Uinta title scoreboard. And Cougars with the serve. It's Chelsea Burchell. Lloyd passes up front to Cornea. Good pass. Rebels set it up for Peart. Hit down the line off the top of the net. The Cougars are there. They'll set it up. Not a great set, so they'll just kind of punch it over. Now Cornea will set it back row for Lamborn, who pushes it over. The Cougars are there. They'll set it up for Woolston-Hume. Cornea keeps that alive. Lamborn dives, but she can't keep it in the air. And it's a 23-20 set 2. Rebels down by 3. Cougars won the first set 26-24, and they're knocking on the door here in set number 2. But the serve by Burchell is out of bounds at the right in front of the Rebel bench. So Rebels back to within 2, and trailing 23-21 as Reagan Lloyd will go back to serve. Rebels a little confused on their serve rotation. Now they'll say Emily Hopkin should be back to serve. Now they say, nope, Reagan Lloyd is back to serve. So they play a little switcheroo there, and Reagan Lloyd back to serve, right to left if you're watching online at KADQRadio.com. Hartle's pass right at the net. They'll scramble, and they'll just get it over to keep it in the air, and 3 hits. The Rebels set by Cornea way outside. Peart just has to hit it over. Now Labrum, the dump set. Rebels are there. Nice dive by Cornea to keep that alive. Woolston-Hume hits it, and the Rebel blockers are there. Huffner, Peart, and Hopkin got up in there, and Rebels to within 1, trailing 23-22 on the Uinta title scoreboard. Lloyd back to serve again for Rich. Here's that floater serve, and Hartle's set into the net. Her serve receive into the net. Huffner goes up and tips it down, and we're tied at 23 on the Uinta title scoreboard. This is right where we were toward the end of the first set. We'll see if the Rebels can come out on top in this one. Lloyd has serve over the net. The Cougars will set it up, and it just goes over, but Peart is there. Good heads up by Peart. Now the Rebels will just have to bump it over. They didn't get a great pass. Labrum sets it up for Horrocks, and it's hit down the line. Rebel blockers tipped it. It couldn't keep it on the Cougar side of the net, and it's 23-24. Cougars with the set point here in set number 2, leading 1-0 in the match. Horrocks goes back to serve, and the running jump serve. Peart passes up front. Cornea. Now Peart comes in with the hit, tipped by the blockers. Woolston-Hume keeps it alive and in the air. Now it's back over to the Rebels. Cornea will set it up again for Peart. Push down the line. Hartle is there. Pass up front. Now Labrum set it up for Robinson. Rebel tips. Blockers are tipping it, and it's to the floor on the Rebel side. And once again, the Lady Cougars will win this one by 2, 25-23. They won the first set 26-24. So they've won both of these first 2 sets by 2 points each in close sets between the Lady Rebels and the Lady Cougars. But the Rebels down 2-0 in this match. Set 3 is coming up when we come back on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3. And you can watch this match online at KADQRadio.com.
For over 100 years, Union Telephone has been providing phone service to small communities. Places the big guys simply ignored. We were helping our neighbors stay connected to the rest of the country. Times have changed and technology has evolved. Union has been there the entire way. Today, we still keep people connected in more ways and places than ever before. Union Wireless, treating you like a neighbor, not a number.
Long lines and slow traffic. Gas prices on the rise? Save yourself a trip to the big city by stopping first at Cowboy Motor Company. You no longer have to get out of Dodge to find the best deals on vehicles. Cowboy Motor Company has them in stock. Expanding inventory and plenty of money available for lending, you can now get into Dodge at Cowboy Motor Company. Strength, honesty, and integrity. The Cowboy way. Cowboy Motor Company, 100 Wasatch Road in Evanston.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ 98.3 FM and online at KADQradio.com. The Rebels trailing the Union Lady Cougars 2-0. Cougars won the first set 26-24. The Cougars won the second set as well 25-23. And in that last set, Rebels trailed 12-6. They went on a 7-1 run and got to within one. They kept themselves within one or two, and then tied it up at 23 before the Lady Cougars scored the last couple of points and got the win 25-23. Rebels over there got some interaction between the fans and the Lady Rebels, and trying to relax just a little bit. Now, it would be nice for the Rebels to get a win in this match, but ultimately, this is a 3A team that they're coming up against in the Union Lady Cougars, and a team that is headed to the state tournament as the number 4 seed from their region, which is a real tough region in the 3A classification. So ultimately, the Rebels got the win earlier today against Tabiona. They also beat Duchesne. So this match carries no weight as far as what the Rebels do this season and trying to get to the state tournament and such. They've already earned the number 1 seed from Region 17 heading into the state tournament, which is October 30th and 31st. Now, the Rebels tomorrow will be back in action at Manila, a match we'll have right here on KADQ 98.3 FM and online at KADQradio.com. And we'll have pregame coverage at noon with first serve scheduled for 12:15 as the Rebels play at Manila tomorrow afternoon. And we'll be there. Then next Thursday, the Rebels play at Mountain Crest. Then Friday night, they return home to wrap up the regular season hosting North Summit. Well, here's the first serve of set 3. Beginning serve brought to you by the station in Randolph. Rebels receive it, set it up for Peart. Peart pushes it over. Now left to right go the Rebels. And a big hit by Horrocks. Boy, and she hammers that one down. Right at Brown, but Brown just couldn't play it. That hit too hard. And the Cougars up 1-0 on the Uinta scoreboard. And if you heard the pregame interview with Coach John Hollinger, he said that he believes Haley Horrocks has the potential to play college volleyball. And the way she gets up some of the time, boy, she can just hammer that thing home. Rebels struggling to keep this one in the air, and Lamborn's flailing attempt to keep it up and get it over the net goes into the net, and it's 2-0 Lady Cougars on the Uinta scoreboard. Back to serve goes Portia Labrum. Lamborn goes down, and the serve receive up over the net. She just didn't get her feet under there, and Cougars just slam it back down. Rebels trail 3-0 on the Uinta scoreboard as Labrum will go serve once again. Right to left if you're watching online at KADQradio.com. That's north to south. Lloyd passes up front. They'll set it up for Lamborn. Push to the back corner. Cougars are there. Now they'll set it up. Here's the hit. Nope, Robinson just pushes it over. Rebels will set Cornea for Lamborn on the back row. Lamborn, pretty good hit, but the Cougars will set it up. And now we have, do we have a double hit? Yeah, a 2-hit by Horrocks. And she's just laughing about it over there. And the Rebels get on the scoreboard here in set 3, trailing 3-1 on the Uinta scoreboard as Peart goes back to serve. Now the Cougars will set it up. A tip by Brown, a tip by Peart, but they can't keep it in the air. And it's 4-1 Lady Cougars on the Uinta scoreboard. They'll send Malia Robinson back to serve. And Robinson from just closer to this near side. Nice dig by Lloyd, and the Rebels push it over by Lamborn. Now Labrum will set it up, and here's the tip. Nice pancake by Lamborn, and the Rebels keep it alive. Great dive by Lamborn to keep that in the air. Now the big hit by number 10, Lexi Anderson, though, and the Rebel blockers are there, but they block it out of bounds. And it's 5-1, Lady Cougars with the lead on the Uinta scoreboard. They took the first 2 sets, 26-24 and 25-23 in sets 1 and 2 respectively. And now they find the seam between Lloyd and Lamborn. Nice serve by Robinson and the ace, and it's 6-1 on the Uinta scoreboard. Robinson again back to serve. Running jump serve into the net. And it's 6-2. Rebels down by 4 early on in set number 3. Rebels down by 2 in the match. They lost both sets 1 and 2 by 2 points each, a total of 4 points, the difference in this match between 2 wins and 2 losses. Huffner serves, the Cougars get it back over. Not a great attack. Now the Rebels will set it up for Lamborn. Lamborn, the big hit, tipped by the blockers right at the net, up high. And Labrum now will set it up. Big hit down the line, blocked by the Rebels. A great diving pancake by Brown, and Pearce bumps it over. Now the big hit again, and this time the Rebels can't get underneath it. Cornea dives. Boy, Brown went to the floor 2 times on 2 different on the same rally. But the Rebels couldn't keep it in the air, and it's 7-2 Cougars with the lead on the Winnetonka scoreboard. Back to serve is number 10, Anderson, and pass by the Rebels goes up into the net. Cornea tries to go up and get it, but she can't get up to it, and it's 8-2 Cougars with the lead on the Winnetonka scoreboard. Anderson's serve into the net, and that just came off her hand a little bit funny. Not sure what happened there, but it's 8-3. Rebels trail on the Winnetonka scoreboard, and their only points so far in this third set have come off of missed serves by the Cougars. So the Rebels have got to come up with something, find a little fire inside. Here's Horrocks, and she just hammers that one home. That was a big hit. She got the good set and just pounded it down. It's 9-3. Rebels trail on the Winnetonka scoreboard, and Haley Horrocks, the senior, goes back to serve now. Serving from just about straight away, right to left if you're watching online at KADQradio.com. It's north to south. Cornea sets for Lamborn. Lamborn pushed toward the corner, but Anderson is there. No, that's Robinson is there. Now they'll set it up. Rebels right there. They'll keep it alive. Cornea will set for Lamborn again. The hit tipped at the net, right back to the Rebels. Lloyd keeps it alive. Now Lamborn again, the big hit, tipped by the blockers. Now Woolston-Hume will set, and the hit by Horrocks. Cornea keeps it alive. And Huffner passes over to Lamborn, who hits it over. Now Labrum will set it up, and here's Woolston-Hume again. The tip. Rebels are there this time. Nice job by Cornea. Now Lamborn pushed toward the corner. Horrocks is there. Labrum will set it up again this near side. Anderson hit, and Peart is there. They'll set it up. Lamborn pushes it, trying to find that hole in the defense. It's not there, and Union will set it up again. Hit to Cornea. Now the set for Lamborn. She'll tip it over. Back to the Cougars. Hit down the line by Woolston-Hume, but out of bounds. Rebels caught a break there as Woolston-Hume tried to hit that down the line. Rebel defense wasn't there, but she just hit it a bit wide. And the Rebels now down by 5, 9-4 on the Winnetonka scoreboard as Lamborn goes back to serve. Almost gets the ace, but Hartle gets underneath it, and they'll scramble and bump it, keep it up high in the air, and get it over. Cornea will set it up for Peart. Peart's hit into the net, tipped, and a little bit of a lift there, it looked like to me, but it goes out of bounds off the Cougars anyways. And it'll be a Rebel point, 9-5. Rebels down, trailing on the Winnetonka scoreboard. Here's the serve by Lamborn. The pass goes back up over the net, tipped back by Peart. Now Woolston-Hume will push it over. Lamborn will set it up for Peart on the far side. Dive by Horrocks to keep that in the air, and a beautiful dive. Boy, she got it over the net. Cornea couldn't get underneath it for the Rebels, and it's 10-5. Lady Cougars with the lead on the Winnetonka scoreboard, and Chelsea Burchell will go back to serve. The junior serving from just about straight away. Peart passes up front. Cornea will set it up for Peart. Peart the tip down the line. Horrocks is there. Labrum will set it up here to Woolston-Hume. The push into the corner, and Lamborn couldn't quite get there to control it. And it's 11-5 on the Winnetonka scoreboard. Lamborn got a hand on it, but just kind of shanked it right toward a teammate and down at their feet. So it's 11-5. Peart passes up front. Cornea sets for Peart. Peart the hit, blocked by Labrum, and the Rebels will set it back up for Lamborn on the back row. Hit skips across the net. Cougars are there, though, and they'll set it up here to this near side. Big hit by Robinson, but Huffner's there. Now they'll set it up back row for Lamborn, and just the set, I don't know if it was a little bit low or what, but Lamborn couldn't quite get her feet underneath her, and it's 12-5 as she hit it into the net. Rebels trail by 7 on the Winnetonka scoreboard, and Burchell back to serve again for the Lady Cougars. Lloyd passes, and Cornea will set it up. Lamborn just pushes it right over the net, in close, and now the Cougars do about the same thing. Cornea's there. Now Hopkin will set it up for Peart. Peart bumps it over, and now Labrum will set it up for Robinson. Robinson the hit. Lamborn dives to keep that one in the air. Cornea hits it. It's off the net, and Hopkin bumps it over. Rebels keeping it in the air there. Now Woolston-Hume hits it over. Rebels are there with Huffner. Pass up front, and Peart will just bump it over back to the corner. Now Labrum will set it up here to this near side for Robinson, and Lamborn is back in the corner. But we have Cornea trying to get over there to set, and she can't get to it in time. And the Rebels trail 13-5 on the UNITADO scoreboard with a timeout on the floor. Here in set number 3, the Rebels lost the first set 26-24. They were right there with it, right there in it. We were actually tied at 24 before the Lady Cougars scored the final 2 points of that set. And then in set number 2, we were tied at 23 before the Lady Cougars scored the final 2 points of that set. These two teams really evenly matched, and it's just been the difference of 4 points. 2 points in each set is the difference between the Rebels being 0-2 here against the Union Lady Cougars and the Rebels being 2-0. And it's just come down to those last 2 points of the set that have given the Cougars the advantage. But right now, the Lady Rebels, and frankly, what I see is that they've played 2 full matches today against Tabiona and Duchesne. And Coach Stewart said that, you know, in pool play, in tournaments, this is what they do. They play 4 or 5 matches a day, but those are best 2 out of 3, and most of the time the Rebels are winning in 2 sets. Now they're playing the best 3 out of 5. They've played 6 sets already today. Well, 8 sets with the 2 they played against Union. Here's the set. Rebels able to keep it in the air, and Lloyd just bumps it over the net. Now the Wilson-Hume, the tip, and Huffner's there. She'll pass it back over. Now the Cougars will set it up, blocked by Lloyd and Hopkin at the net, and the Cougars will set it up again. Back row to Lamborn. Now Cornell will set it up for Peart on the far side. Peart hits and finds the floor. Nice hit by Peart. Not a whole lot of power on it, but she just froze the defense. Looked like she was going to swing away and then just kind of tipped it into the hole, or slapped it into the hole is maybe a better term. And Rebels down 13-6 on the UNITADO scoreboard as Lloyd goes back to serve. To the back row, it's passed up front by Draper, and a big hit by the Cougars. That'll find the floor, and the Rebels now trail 14-6 on the UNITADO scoreboard. Hartle back to serve for the Cougars, and Lamborn can't quite get in position to play it well. It's 15-6 on the UNITADO scoreboard. Cougars with the lead. Hartle again back to serve. This is Abigail Hartle, sophomore libero. Hartle serve into the net. Boy, she was really trying to put something on that one and just misfired. And it's 15-7. Rebels down by 8 on the UNITADO scoreboard. As Emily Hopkin goes back to serve. Nice serve. The serve received, shanked off toward the Cougar bench. And that's a point for the Rebels, who trail 15-8 on the UNITADO scoreboard. Nice serve once again. Hopkin going straight at Draper. The pass again, not a good one, and the Rebels will get the point. You hear that the Rebel crowd making some noise over here at Duchesne High School. Rebels down 15-9 on the UNITADO scoreboard. Here's Hopkin. Again, Draper. Not a great pass, but they'll get a good set up front. Lloyd is there to dig it, and Cornell will set it up for Peart. Peart pushed down the line, and she finds the hole in the defense. Nice job by Peart. Great court vision, and the Rebels, within 5, are on a 3-0 run, a 4-0 run. It's 15-10. Here's Hopkin once again to the back row, and the serve receive is shanked, but the Cougars keep it in the air. Now they'll get it over the net. Lamborn and Cornell will set it up for Peart. Peart is blocked at the net, but it's over, and the Cougars now will set it up. Here's Robinson to the back row. Lamborn digs, and Cornell will set it up for Peart. Again, hit down the line. Hartle dives to the floor, but can't keep it in the air, and the Rebels within 4. It's 15-11 on the UNITADO scoreboard. And a timeout on the floor. Coach John Hollinger wants to take a timeout and talk about it. Rebels on a 5-0 run here. It was 15-6. It's now 15-11 on the UNITADO scoreboard in set number 3. You're listening to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com.
It's time for the pre-winter checkup special.
Big O Tires, we go the extra mile. Revving up the service to make you smile. We're in the business of customer pleasing. All the right service for all the right reasons.
Receive an oil change, 22-point inspection, brake check, and tire rotation for just $59.99.
Extra miles, the way we go, we got you covered at Big O.
Big O Tires in Evanston, 607 Cheyenne Drive.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com. Nice serve by Hopkin again. The serve received, passed over the net. Huffner passes it back or tips it back. Now the hit from the back row, and it's long by the Cougars. So the Rebels within 3, 15-12 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. This run started, it was 15-6. Rebels down by 3. Hopkins serve. Now Labrum will set it up. The hit by Lexi Anderson is long. It just about took off Lamborn's head, but she ducks her head out of the way, and the Rebels within 2. 15-13 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Now Hopkins serve just a bit long, and that'll give the point and the serve back to the Cougars. But the Rebels, a nice 7-0 run to make this one close again, trailing 16-13. Lloyd passes up front. Cornea sets it over for Peart. Peart hit down the line, and it is in! A beautifully placed ball by Ellen Peart, and the Rebels back to within 2, 16-14 on the Uinetalo scoreboard as Ellen now goes back to serve. Peart, running jump serve, left to right. Oh, just a killer right there. Hits the top of the net and bounces back. So often you'll see that one roll over the top and just drop to the floor, but this time it bounces back on the Rebel side, and it's 17-14. Robinson back to serve for the Cougars now from just about straight away, right to left. Cornea, nice pass by Lloyd, and then Cornea sets it up. Lamborn pushes down the line, and the Rebel have some new life here. They get the point there. Nice placement by Lamborn, and it's 17-15. Rebels down by 2 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Huffner back to serve from this near side. Left to right. Here's the serve. And this one dives to the floor. Hartle dives trying to get underneath it. She can't get there. And it's a 1-point set. 17-16 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Rebels within 1. They were down 12-6, or 15-6 rather, moments ago. And now Huffner's serve. Passed up front. Labrum will set a back set for Draper. Peart's pass into the net, though. Not a good pass from Peart. She knows it. And that'll give the Cougars a point and a 2-point lead. 18-16 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Let's see if Peart can make up for that in just a bit here. Here's the serve by Lexi Anderson, and that's into the net. So the Rebels back to within 1, 18-17 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Rebels lost the first 2 sets, 26-24, 25-23. But they're fighting back into this one. They're down by 1. Andy Cornea to serve for the Rebels. Hartle, the pass right up at the net. Nice job by Labrum to set it and keep it in the air. Hopkins now will set for Peart on the back row. Hit Hartle. Again, the pass into the net, and we're tied at 18 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Rebels were down 15-6. They've fought back. They've been on a 12-3 run, and we're tied at 18. Here's the serve, and the pass up front. Labrum will set. Now Wolstenhume tips it over. Rebels will set it up. Lamborn, the hit is just long, but was it tipped? We've got some discussion here, and the head official says it was tipped. The Rebels lead 19-18 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Now the official's going to bring that line judge over to talk. That corner line judge here on this near side. On the north side says, oh, we're going to have a redo on that play. Some confusion, and we're going to just replay that serve by Cornea. So we're back to 18-18 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. And the serve by Cornea to the back row. Labrum will set it up. A back set for Draper. Blocked by the Rebels. Kept in the air by Cornea. Now Hopkins will set it up for Lamborn. Lamborn the push, and there it is to the floor. Lamborn finds that hole in the defense. And the Rebels now up 19-18, no question, on the Uinetalo scoreboard. And Cornea will go back to serve once again. Cornea from this near side, left to right. Here's the serve to the back row. Misplayed. Poorly played by Malia Robinson. That could have been called 2 hits, in my opinion, but it falls to the floor anyways, and Rebels up 20-18 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Rebels down by 2-0 in this match here in the 3rd set, and the pass goes right up toward the net. Labrum sets it up. Draper, the big hit. Nice pass, and now Cornea just dumps it over on the set. Labrum will set it up again. Wolstenhume. Lamborn keeps it alive. Nice job by Lamborn, and Huffner pushes it over the net. Now, big hit blocked by the Rebels. Cougars are scrambling to keep it alive. It's high in the air, and they will get it over the net in 3. Huffner's there. Now Cornea will set. Here's Lamborn, the big hit, and it's blocked. Back to the floor, and the point will go to the Cougars. Back to within 1, 20-19 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Boy, what a rally there we had. Here's Shayla Draper back to serve for the Lady Cougars. Draper, serve, down low. Peart goes down to get it. Now Lamborn the push, and the defense is there. Labrum will set it up. Here's the push over the net. Cornea's there. Hopkin will set it up high for Lamborn. Lamborn's hit to the back. Hartle passes up front. Now Labrum, and the hit toward the corner is out of bounds, but Peart goes and gets it. She wasn't sure, so she played it. Here's Lamborn, the push to the corner, and it finds the floor. It made it past Draper and Hartle. Both of them swung and missed. Somehow neither of them got to it. And the Rebels lead 21-19 on the Uinta scoreboard within 4 as Lamborn goes back to serve. Here's the set, and they'll hit big hit by Anderson. Was it blocked by the Rebels? Yes, Rebels got a piece of it, and it's blocked out of bounds. So we're back to a 1-point set, 21-20, as Chelsea Burchell will go back to serve. To the back row, Lloyd passes up front. Cornea sets it across for Peart. Peart the head, it's blocked, but Labrum keeps it in the air. Now back to the net. Peart goes up and tips it down to the floor, and the Rebels lead 22-20. The Rebels, something lit a fire underneath them, and they are fired up here. Some energy we didn't see in the first 2 sets. Here's Lloyd to serve. Rebels up by 2. Hartle pass up front. It's right by the net. Labrum, though. Nice set. Nope, not a nice set. It's too far outside, and Robinson can't get out there. The Rebels lead 23-20 on the Uinta scoreboard, and you can hear that crowd coming alive. Rebels with some good fans over here, and they lead 23-20 in set number 3 on the Uinta scoreboard. And we're going to keep it right here as the Rebels within 2 points of picking up a set 3 victory. Rebels lost the first set 26-24, lost the second set 25-23. These 2 teams have just been neck and neck the entire way. The Cougars led by 7, 15-8 in the second set. The Rebels went on a 7-1 run and made it close and kept it close the rest of the way. Similar story here in set 3. Rebels were down 15-6. Since that point, they've gone on a 17-5 run to put themselves ahead 23-20 on the Uinta scoreboard. And that part of that run included a 7-0 run. We'll see if they can finish it off here and get 2 more points and win set 3. Rebels come out, and we have some more fans cheering. They're excited, getting behind these Lady Rebels as Reagan Lloyd goes back to serve. Pass by Horrocks out of bounds, and somehow, nice play by Robinson to keep that alive. Rebels hit back over the net by Lloyd is out of bounds, and it's 23-21 on the Uinta scoreboard, and Abigail Hartle will go back to serve for the Cougars. Hartle's serve, but low. Peart can't quite get underneath it, and it's 23-22. Rebels lead down to 1 on the Uinta scoreboard. They were up by 3 just moments ago. Now up by just 1. 23-22. And the serve by Hartle into the net. So the Rebels within a point of a set 3 victory. 24-22 on the Uinta scoreboard, and Hopkin back to serve. The serve on the back line. It's an ace for the Rebels, and they get a win in set 3, 25-22. What a battle we're having here tonight between the Rebels and the Union Lady Cougars. Rebels win set 3, 25-22 on the Uinta scoreboard. A battle there. Rebels were down 15-6, closed it out on a 19-7 run to win set 3, 25-22 on the Uinta scoreboard. Set 4 is coming up. Rebels down 2-1 in this match against Union. You're listening to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com.
Find out how Chevy trucks stack up against all the other major brand name trucks in their class. Confirm what you know or surprise yourself. Just log on to CastleRockChevy.com. Right now, you can drive any new Chevy truck off the lot for just 1% over factory invoice OAC, and ask about other rebates and offers that apply.
We're Castle Rock.
Like us on Facebook, Castle Rock Chevy in Evanston, CastleRockChevy.com.
Rebels with a win in set 3, 25-22 on the Uinta scoreboard. And as I mentioned, it was close early on, but the Cougars went on a pretty good run. It was 9-4 when the Cougars went on a 6-2 run. They were up 15-6. Suddenly, something was lit. A little fire lit underneath the Rebels. They went on a 7-0 run and then extended that to a 17-5 run. Went on to win that set 3, 25-22. They trail the Union Lady Cougars 2-1 in the match, with set 4 coming up here in just a bit. Rebels won the first set, or Rebels lost the first set, 26-24, and again, Cougars won the second set as well, 25-23 on the Uinta title scoreboard. And you may hear the Rebel fans out here, the soccer chant, ole, 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 ole. Got a good crowd of Rebel fans here on the sideline cheering for their Lady Rebels. It's been a long day for Rich High, actually, over at Tabiona this morning with the freshman, sophomore, and then the JV and varsity matches. So 3 matches at Tabiona, 3 matches here at Duchesne, and then another varsity match here tonight. A total of 7 matches today for the Lady Rebel volleyball teams. And 2 wins against Tabiona and Duchesne, while 1 win against each of those teams. Rebels now at 6-0, I believe, in region play. Make that 7-0. And they'll have 1 more region match tomorrow at Manila. A match that we'll have right here on KADQ. 98.3 FM and online at KADQradio.com. So tune in tomorrow. Don't miss the match. It's 11 o'clock for the JV, and then our pregame coverage of the varsity will begin at noon with the first serve scheduled for 12:15. Set number 4, beginning serve, brought to you by the station in Randolph, just moments away here. Lady Rebels trail 2-1 to the Union Lady Cougars. Rebels lost the first 2 sets, 26-24, 25-23, but came back, come from behind victory in set 3 to win 25-22. And we've seen moments of the Rebels, from my perspective, when they've looked like they're a bit worn out. I mean, they've played a total. They played 3 sets against Tabiona, 3 against Duchesne, and now they've played 3 against Union. So 9 sets of volleyball here today. And these last 3 have been especially taxing. Here's Ellen Peart, the first serve of this set, brought to you by the station in Randolph. Rebels, the pass by the Cougars goes back over the top. Rebels set it up, get it over. Eagles go back and get it over the net. Now the Rebels set it up to Peart. Hit from the back row. Now the Cougars will set it up again, and Wolstenhume, that little push, that little tip into the hole of the defense, and it's 1-0 Cougars on the Uinta title scoreboard. Back to serve goes Portia Labrum. Lloyd passes up front. Cornea sets it for Lamborn, blocked by Wolstenhume. Wolstenhume hits it back and hits it long, out of bounds. We're tied at 1 on the Uinta title scoreboard. And the Rebels will have the serve now. I'm not sure who's going to go back to serve. It's Danielle Huffner. She's up at the net and realizes and just runs back there a little bit embarrassed, I think. 1-1 on the Uinta title scoreboard here in set 4. Labrum will set it up for Wolstenhume, tipped by the Rebel blockers and out of bounds. And it's 2-1. Lady Cougars with the lead on the Uinta title scoreboard as Robinson, number 9, Malia Robinson, will go back to serve. Robinson, the running jump serve, and Lamborn passes high. Cornea sets for Lamborn on the near side. Lamborn hits, and Robinson is there. Now Labrum will set it up for Horrocks, who hits it way long, way wide. From the far side, she's trying to find that angle, but she hits it just way out wide, and we're tied at 2 on the Uinta title scoreboard with Cornea going back to serve for the Rebels. Cornea into the net. The serve goes. And the Rebels back down. And the Cougars back on top, 3-2 on the Uinta title scoreboard. And here's Emily Wolstenhume. Wolstenhume serves into the net. And we're tied up at 3 on the Uinta title scoreboard as Cammie Lamborn goes back to serve for the Rebels. Lamborn serve to Robinson. Labrum will now set it up. A back set for Draper, blocked by the Rebels out of bounds. And the point goes to the Cougars. The block came to this near side and was out of bounds. So the Cougars now will get it and will have the serve. Rebels keep it in the air. Lamborn pushes it over. The pass into the net, tipped over by Lloyd, and looks they're going to say Lloyd went too far over to try and knock that one down. Give the point to the Cougars, who now lead 5-3 on the Unitano scoreboard. Serve, Lamborn dives as that serve went on the top of the net. Now the hit down the line by Peart, dive by Hartle to keep that one in the air. Robinson hits it. Rebels dive, and Cornea's dive hits it over to the scores table. And the Cougars lead 6-3 on the Unitano scoreboard. Back to serve goes Shayla Draper. Rebels able to set it up, and Lamborn pushes it over. Now the Cougars will set it up again. Huffner's there on the hit, and Cornea in the net. Back to Lloyd. Lloyd pushes it over. Now Labrum will set it up, and here's the hit by Horrocks. Rebels tip it by the blockers. Huffner dives to try and keep it in the air, but she can't get there, and it's 7-3. Union Lady Cougars with the lead in set 4 on the Unitano scoreboard. Peart passes up high. Cornea sets for Lloyd. Nice hit. Draper can't control it. It's shanked toward the back wall, and the Rebels get the point there. Trailing now 7-4 on the Unitano scoreboard here in set 4. Rebels won the third set, 25-22, but the Cougars won the first 2 sets. Here's Lloyd to serve. Hartle's pass goes right at the net. Nice heads-up play by Labrum. She just goes up high and tips it right over the Rebel blockers. And it's 8-4. Lady Cougars with the lead on the Unitano scoreboard as Haley Horrocks goes back to serve. Lamborn passes up to Cornea. Cornea to Peart for the set, and Peart pushes it over toward the corner. Now a push by the Cougars. Rebels get it back over the net and somehow find a hole. Not sure what happened there with the Cougars, but they just didn't get underneath it, didn't keep it in the air. And the Rebels within 3, 8-5 on the Unitano scoreboard. Back to serve goes Hopkin, and she serves it into the net. She served real well tonight. Just a rare mistake there from her, serving the ball. Here's Abigail Hartle back to serve now. Lamborn passes up front. Cornea will set for Hopkin. Nice hit by Hopkin. The pass back over the net. Hopkin goes right back up and hammers it down. And the Rebels back to within 3, trailing 9-6 on the Unitano scoreboard. And it's Ellen Peart who will go back to serve for the Lady Rebels. Peart serves to the back row, and the Cougars a little troubled, but Hartle gets it over the net. Now Rebels will set it up. Lamborn pushed down the line. Cougars are there. Labrum, rather, will give it to Draper, who pushes it over. Now Cornea will set it up for Lamborn. Big hit, and the pass goes up high right at the net, tipped back and forth and to the floor on the Rebels side. Brown dives to try and keep it alive, but she can't get underneath it, and it's 10-6 Cougars with the lead on the Unitano scoreboard, and Labrum will go back to serve. The setter, Portia Labrum, for the Lady Cougars. Lloyd passes to Cornea. Cornea sets it up for Lamborn. Big hit blocked by Wilson-Hume, and the Rebels, a double hit by Huffner to try and keep that one in the air, and it's 11-6 Cougars with the lead on the Unitano scoreboard. Cougars lead 2-1 in the match. They won the first 2 sets. Rebels won the third set. Lloyd passes up front. Here's Cornea, the set for Lamborn. Big hit toward the corner. Cougars are there, and a big hit by Robinson. Peart can't get underneath it, and it's 12-6 Lady Cougars on the Unitano scoreboard. Rebels falling behind once again, as they did in set 3 and 2. They made comebacks in those 2 sets. We'll see if they can come back here. Peart passes up front. Cornea set, and the hit by Huffner toward the corner. It's tipped a couple of times by the Cougars, but then it finds the floor, and the Rebels down by 5, 12-7 on the Unitano scoreboard. Here's Huffner back to serve, and a nice serve just clears the net. Robinson passes up front. Labrum sets it up for Burchell, and Burchell gets a nice hit. That finds the floor in front of the Rebel defenders. And that'll make it 13-7 Cougars with the lead on the Unitano scoreboard. And back to serve goes Robinson. Robinson from just off the left side. Peart passes up to Cornea. Cornea set across this side to Lamborn, who hits across the angle and finds it. Gets it in on that line on the outside. She hit it from this side across to the across to the Union bench and somehow got that to stay in, and the Rebels down 13-8 on the Uinta scoreboard. Cornea's serve. Labrum will set it up, and the hit by Horrocks, tipped by the Rebel blockers. Huffner passes across the net, and the Cougars will set it up again. Horrocks just tips it. Cornea's there. Lamborn dives, or no, that was Hopkin who dived. Lamborn pushed it over. Now Horrocks again will sit it over the net. Lamborn is there. They'll set it up. Cornea for Lamborn. Lamborn, the tip into the hole. Great court vision. Instead of trying to hammer it down, she just tips it over, and the Rebels get the point, trailing now 13-9 rather, on the Uinta scoreboard. And Cornea will go back to serve again for the Rebels. Serve to the back row. Horrocks is there. Labrum will set it up, a back set for Burchell. Tipped back by the Rebel blockers. That was Lloyd and Lamborn there, I believe, and the Rebels within 3, 13-10 on the Uinta scoreboard. And Cornea back to serve again. Cornea to Horrocks. Horrocks passes back to Horrocks. No, Wolstenhume, the hit blocked by the Rebels by Lloyd and Hopkin. Cougars set it back up and hit it. Rebels are there. Now Lloyd will just push it over. Cougars set it up once again. Here's the hit by Wolstenhume. Just kind of a push over the top. Now Hopkin will set it up for Lamborn. Push down the line. Pass back into the net, and somehow the Cougars keep it alive. Nice play by Burchell. Rebels will set it up now for Lamborn. Lamborn, the push, and again into the hole. They've seen her so many times all night long go up and swing away, and the last 2 times she's gone up and just pushed it over the blockers and into a hole in the defense, and it's 13-11 on the Uinta scoreboard. Horrocks, not a good pass, and the Cougars just scramble to get it over the net. They bump it over. Now the Rebels will set it up to Peart on the back row. Again, misplayed, shanked by the Cougars. Second hit goes to the floor, and the Rebels within 1, 13-12 on the Uinta scoreboard. Cornea back to serve again for the Rich Rebels. And it's passed by Hartle. The set, not good. It's in the net, and Burchell can't get there. We're tied at 13 on the Uinta scoreboard. Rebels have come back. They were down 13-7. They're on a 6-0 run, and you hear that crowd come alive as the Rebels have tied it up at 13 in set number 4. Rebels down 2-1 in the match, trying to get force a set 5 here at Nabigo Tires of Evanston. Presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ-FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com. We got a timeout, and we'll be back right after this on KADQ.
Long lines and slow traffic. Gas prices on the rise? Save yourself a trip to the big city by stopping first at Cowboy Motor Company. You no longer have to get out of Dodge to find the best deals on vehicles. Cowboy Motor Company has them in stock. Expanding inventory and plenty of money available for lending, you can now get into Dodge at Cowboy Motor Company. Strength, honesty, and integrity. The Cowboy way. Cowboy Motor Company, 100 Wasatch Road in Evanston.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ-FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com. Rebels tying it up at 13. They were down by 6, 13-7, just moments ago on the Uinta scoreboard, but they've fought back into it. And now here's Wolstenhume with the tip, and it was out of bounds. She tipped it just a bit wide, and the Rebels lead 14-13. Their first lead of this fourth set on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Labrum, set it up for Horrocks. Big hit blocked by the Rebels, but blocked to the Rebel bench. And we're tied up again at 14 on the Uinta scoreboard. So back to serve will go Wolstenhume. And Wolstenhume goes to Huffner. Huffner passes up front. Cornea, good pass. Cornea set. Hit by Lamborn, is blocked but out of bounds. As soon as that was hit, you heard her teammates yell out. And sure enough, it's blocked out of bounds. So the Rebels up 15-14. Now the serve receive. Not a good one as Horrocks dives and hits it out of bounds. Rebels up 17-14, or 16-14 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Lamborn again, the serve, and Robinson shakes it to the back wall, and the Rebels lead 17-14 on the Uinta scoreboard. Rebels on a good run here, trying to force a fifth set. We're tied at 2 sets apiece. Here's Lamborn once again. The receive is shanked out of bounds by Robinson. Rebels now lead 18-14. And I misspoke. The Rebels down 2-1 in this match, trying to make it 2 sets apiece. Here's Lamborn. And Hartle passes up front. Labrum scrambling to get a set, and the Cougars just push it over. Now Hopkins sets it up for Peart right at the net. 2 hits. Now here's the third, a push over the net by the Cougars. Cornea will set it up to this near side for Peart. Peart pushing into the corner, just a bit long. Oh, just too long, and the Rebel run ends right there. It was a 11-1 run for the Rebels, and it ends making it 18-15. Rebels pass up front after the serve. Now Peart, the big hit. Hartle's pass goes into the net, and a great heads-up play by Lexi Anderson. Anderson goes over and just tips it over the Rebel blockers to the floor, and it's 18-16. Rebels up by 2. Here's Burchell. Lamborn passes up front. Cornea goes up high, but they're going to say a violation against Cornea. An illegal attack by Andy Cornea. The point will go to the Cougars, and now an ace on the Cougars by the serve. And we're tied at 18 suddenly. Rebel 4-point lead has been cut right down. And Burchell back to serve once again. Peart passes up high. Now Cornea sets it up. Peart, big hit. Hartle keeps it in the air, and Hartle now will just bump it over the net. Huffner will put pass to Cornea. Cornea set. Lloyd gets the hit, and the Cougars keep it alive. They'll get it over the net with Horrocks. Rebels are there. Now Cornea will set for Peart. Peart the tip into the corner. Hartle almost go into the floor to keep it alive, and the Cougars push it over the net. Now Cornea will set it up for Peart. Peart hit down the line. Nice job by Burchell to keep that in the air, and the Cougars will hit it over. Now Lamborn passes to Cornea. Cornea sets it up for Lamborn on the back row. Hits the top of the net. Rolls over, and the Cougars are there. They'll set it up for Horrocks. Horrocks the hit, and to the floor. Peart was there, but she thought Huffner was going to come up and get it. And it's 19-18. Cougars with the lead on the Unitado scoreboard. And a timeout on the floor. We'll take a quick one as well. And we'll be back in 30 seconds with more of a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com.
It's time for the pre-winter checkup special.
Big O Tires, we go the extra mile. Revving up the service to make you smile. We're in the business of customer pleasing. All the right service for all the right reasons.
Receive an oil change, 22-point inspection, brake check, and tire rotation for just $59.99. Big O Tires in Evanston, 607 Cheyenne Drive.
Here's the serve by Burchell. Lamborn's pass up high, way back on the back row. The Rebels will get it over the net. A set bump by Peart. Now the Cougars will set it up, and Huffner just tips it, trying to keep it in play, and it's tipped out of bounds. So it's a two-point set now, 20-18. Cougars on top by 2. Let's see if the Rebels can dig deep and come up with something here. Lamborn passes up front. Cornea will set for Peart. Peart the hit, blocked, but blocked out of bounds, and the Rebels will get the point, making it 20-19 on the Unitado scoreboard. As Reagan Lloyd will go back to serve. Fourth set, Rebels down 2-1 in the match. The pass goes right back to the net, and Huffner tips it to the floor. And it's 20-20. We're tied up on the Unitado scoreboard in set number 4. Rebels lost the first 2 sets by 2 points apiece. They won the third set 25-22. Burchell passes up front. Labrum sets it for Horrocks, blocked by the Rebels, but blocked out to the scores table. And the Cougars will get the point there, now leading 21-20 on the Unitado scoreboard. Cougars back on top, and Horrocks goes back to serve for the Lady Cougars. In set 4, Cougars leading 2-1 in the match. Here's Horrocks, and barely, if not, boy, somehow it didn't work out for the Rebels. Horrocks served kind of a flat palm, and barely makes it over the net, and the Rebels can't get underneath it. It's 22-20 on the UNT title scoreboard. Rebels down by 2. Timeout on the floor. We'll take a quick one as well and be back on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com.
Precious time cannot be recovered once lost, said the famous Jack Sparrow. Don't lose time driving extra miles when the dental services you need are available right here in Evanston. Do you need a root canal? Do you need your wisdom teeth pulled? Are you missing teeth and want a full and perfect smile? Do you need braces? All of these services are available from our specialists right here in Evanston. This is oral surgeon A.J. Stosich inviting you to join me and my associates. Call today to schedule an appointment at 307-789-5608. That's 307-789-5608. Save your precious time.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Lady Rebel Volleyball. And the serve by Burchell. Rebels are there. Cornea sets it up for Lamborn on the back row. Hartle passes up front. Labrum will set it up for Robinson. Blocked by the Rebels, but blocked out of bounds. And it's 23-20. Union knocking on the door of a victory here in set 4. They will lead 2-1 in the match. And Horrocks again to serve. Here's Horrocks. Lamborn on the back row. Passes up front to Cornea. Cornea the set for Peart. Blocked, but the Cougars keep it in the air. It was blocked on their side. Now Lamborn, as the Cougars got it back over. Cornea sets it up for Peart to the back row. Hartle is there, and Labrum will set it up. Hartle will just bump it over. Now Lamborn misplays it, shanks it to the far side stands, and it's 24-20. Game, set, match point here for the Lady Cougars with Horrocks going back to serve. Horrocks serving from straight away, left to right if you're watching online at KADQRadio.com. Serve down low. Peart misplays it. It's out of bounds off the Rebels, and the Cougars win 25-20. A great effort by the Lady Rebels after a long day of volleyball. Rebels beat Tabiona earlier today in 3 straight. They beat Duchesne in 3 straight, and they battle here against 3A Union. Rebels lost 26-24 in the first set, 25-23 in the second set. Came back from being down 15-6 in the third set and got the win 25-22. Came back again, went on a big 11-1 run in the fourth set and were ahead 18-14, but unfortunately faltered late down the stretch, and the Cougars get the win 25-20 in the fourth set to win the match 3-1 on the UNT title scoreboard. Well, that's the end of our match. We got our post-game show coming up, so stay tuned here on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com.
Throughout our lives, there are times we may need skilled rehabilitation and nursing care or home health and hospice care. Rocky Mountain Care has been providing these services since 1990. Our skilled staff and specialized programs will meet your loved one's needs. Our staff is dedicated to a high-quality outcome for each of our patients and residents. When you or someone you love needs these professional services, think of Rocky Mountain Care. Simply the best care. www.rmcare.com.
For over 100 years, Union Telephone has been providing phone service to small communities, places the big guys simply ignored. We were helping our neighbors stay connected to the rest of the country. Times have changed and technology has evolved. Union has been there the entire way. Today, we still keep people connected in more ways and places than ever before. Union Wireless, treating you like a neighbor, not a number.
Find out how Chevy trucks stack up against all of the other major brand name trucks in their class. Confirm what you know or surprise yourself. Just log on to CastleRockChevy.com. Right now, you can drive any new Chevy truck off the lot for just 1% over factory invoice OAC, and ask about other rebates and offers that apply.
We're Castle Rock.
Like us on Facebook, Castle Rock Chevy in Evanston, CastleRockChevy.com.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com. And joining us now for a post-game interview is Coach Cindy Stewart and Coach. Boy, that was a tough match. That was really even between the two of you. I mean, 4 points was the difference between 2-0 in those first 2 sets and 0-2. How did you feel about it?
They were just better than us. They had more attacks. You know, we're just a lot of outside. They had those big tippers. We finally got them, though, which was good. Everything we did tonight are things we needed to be better at. So they exposed our Achilles heels for sure.
Their blockers really seem to give you guys a lot of trouble. Is that what you mean by the tippers?
Yeah, we haven't seen a big block like that all year. Mm-hmm. And then their big girls come and tip, and they're so readable, but they probably got, 8-10 points off of those tips, that big tall tips.
So this match, I mean, let's first of all, before we get to talking about what this means in the season, I guess, were the girls tired? Did you feel like that, like they were kind of worn out a little bit coming into this match against Union?
You know, they could be, but that's not a good excuse. Okay. You know, and they know that. They were just better than us. I mean, they did a lot of things we haven't seen all year. And they had those big tips and the big block. We haven't seen a big block like that. So we got to hit off the block, and then we couldn't put one down on them. So I thought they played. Emily Hopkins came up really big for us. I think they got it in them, but they don't have the confidence to sit back there and score points like she did tonight. So that helped a lot.
It seemed like early in the season we talked a lot about, well, you mentioned a few times how you wanted the team to play even, not going up and down, and there was a little bit of that. And you had those ups when you go on nice big streaks and get ahead or get back into it, and then you go down a little bit and they'd pull out the victory.
That was as flat as I've seen us play. You know, we were like emotionless out there, and that was bad. And I don't know if they, like you said, if they thought they were tired or what, but they played without any emotion. And then when we got the high, and I hate that. I'm saying we cannot be sad because we're behind. You can't play like that. You got to stay in the game. So that's the first time they've done that this year.
So you got the wins in region play today, and those are really the ones that matter. But does this one, how nice would it have been to get a win over Union, or how tough is this loss?
No, it's not tough. It's great that we got to play that type of competitions before state. We play Mountain Crest, and they'll be really tough, and North Summit. So we try to play tougher competition towards the end of our season, so state won't be maybe so hard.
So tomorrow at Manila, you'll wrap up region play, and you expect that to be a win?
Yeah, I think we'll win there. You never know, though. But I think the girls played as good as they could. I don't know why they were so down. If they're tired, I told them that was not a good excuse. Right. I told them they just weren't very tough if they're tired. So just.
Well, it seemed like they fought hard, and it was real close. And I liked the way they battled back in the second, third, and fourth sets. You know, you were down by 7 or 8, 9 points and battled back, but unfortunately the loss. So Manila, and then you mentioned Mountain Crest, and what was the last one? North Summit.
Our last home game. Yeah.
So that wraps it up next week, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is it hard to believe it's gone? Has it gone fast for you?
Oh my gosh, it just flew. Yeah,
just flew by.
The fastest 10, 12 weeks of my life.
Well, it's been a fun day, and I'm glad we got to be a part of it. And congratulations on a good day, and hope we'll see you tomorrow at Manila.
Yeah, thanks a lot for covering us again. Bye.
Thanks, Coach. That was Coach Cindy Stewart, head coach of the Rich High Lady Rebels here on KADQ FM 98.3, and our post-game interview with Coach Stewart. Stay tuned. We'll have a quick look ahead at what's in store for the Rich Rebel volleyball team and the football team in the coming days. So we'll be back right after this on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at kadqradio.com.
Precious time cannot be recovered once lost, said the famous Jack Sparrow. Don't lose time driving extra miles when the dental services you need are available right here in Evanston. Do you need a root canal? Do you need your wisdom teeth pulled? Are you missing teeth or want a full and perfect smile? Do you need braces? All of these services are available from our specialists right here in Evanston. This is endodontist Les Walker inviting you to join me and my associates. Call today to schedule an appointment at 307-789-5608. That's 307-789-5608. Save your precious time.
Throughout our lives, there are times we may need skilled rehabilitation and nursing care or home health and hospice care. Rocky Mountain Care has been providing these services since 1990. Our skilled staff and specialized programs will meet your loved one's needs. Our staff is dedicated to a high-quality outcome for each of our patients and residents. When you or someone you love needs these professional services, think of Rocky Mountain Care. Simply the best care. www.rmcare.com.
For over 100 years, Union Telephone has been providing phone service to small communities, places the big guys simply ignored. We were helping our neighbors stay connected to the rest of the country. Times have changed and technology has evolved. Union has been there the entire way. Today, we still keep people connected in more ways and places than ever before. Union Wireless, treating you like a neighbor, not a number.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com. Taking a quick look ahead at what's in store for the Rebels, and tomorrow afternoon, the Lady Rebels will play at Manila. We'll have the pregame at 12 noon, and the first serve will be scheduled for 12:15 tomorrow afternoon. Now, the Rebels continue their action, as Coach Stewart mentioned, on Thursday at Mountain Crest. We'll have the coverage at 7:15 pregame, 7:30 first serve. Next Thursday evening, and then Friday afternoon, Rich Rebel football team hosts Diamond Ranch. Pre-game tune in at 3:20. Kickoff is at 4 p.m., and the Rebel volleyball team will host North Summit. And we'll after that football game, we'll run in and bring you the coverage of the volleyball match as well, with first serve scheduled for 7 p.m. That's a look ahead at what's in store for the Rebels. Again, tomorrow is our next broadcast as the Rebels play at Manila. This has been the Lady Rebels postgame show, brought to you here in part by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff, your sponsor for starting lineups. The beginning serve was brought to you by the station in Randolph, and today's scoreboard sponsor is You Win a Title. This has been a sports production and sports broadcast of Old West Media Incorporated and Cook Brothers Broadcasting. No portion of this production can be used or rebroadcast without express written consent of Old West Media Incorporated. Once again, our final score tonight, Rebels lose in 4, 26-24, 25-23. They won the third set 25-22, but lost set 4, 25-20 on the Win a Title scoreboard. Join us tomorrow afternoon at 12 noon as the Rebels play at Manila. We'll be on the air with pregame at 12 o'clock, first service scheduled for 12:15. Until then, go Rebels.
You've been listening to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich High School Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3, with video online at KADQradio.com. Today's match has been brought to you by these Rebel supporting businesses and individuals: Cowboy Motor Company, Save a Horse, buy from Cowboy; Big O Tires, the team you trust; Castle Rock Chevrolet, we are Chevrolet; Wyoming Dental Specialists; Rocky Mountain Care, simply the best care. Today's starting lineups were brought to you by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff. The beginning serve of each set was brought to you by the station in Randolph, and your scoreboard sponsor for today's broadcast was You Win a Title. Thank you for listening to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich High Rebel Sports on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com.